1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Snap to Mahomes, back to throw on 2nd and 10. He looks, he double clutches, he throws, it's bobbled. It is intercepted, maybe. Looking for a signal. I think the Texans picked it off. Azeez Al-Shire intercepted it off the deflection. And the Texans have their third takeaway of the game.
Thank you to Westwood One. That went off of Travis Kelce. All the Kansas City Stars falling short last night, and it looks like their playoff run will end. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. They're not 100% dead yet, Pearl, but Kansas City needs everything in the world now to suddenly go right, and I just don't see that happening, especially after last night. They were in this game. I mean, was either offense actually in this game in the first half? Nobody could move the ball on these defenses, and you're just so used to the Chiefs winning these ones, but not this season.
Oh, I mean, everything is 3 inches off. Even if they were mathematically alive, and I'm sure you'll give us a percentage later, they lost a tiebreaker to the Houston Texans last night. They already lost a tiebreaker to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who they lost to earlier in the season. I don't see Eddie mathematically alive unless somehow there is something totally insane that happens. So it's over. I think we're ready to talk about next steps for this Chiefs dynasty.
Yeah, I thought about Andy Reid's future. I'm not going to lie. It crossed my mind. Well, it's funny because last night on the broadcast, so Houston wins 20-10. By the way, we will get to the college football playoff. EJ's in his Miami jersey. We're going to talk about Notre Dame getting oopsie-dooped. Do not worry. Should Alabama be in this bracket? We will get to it, I promise. We just want to react off of the last thing we saw last night quickly because it's the Chiefs. So one thing that I was thinking about, first of all, I thought it was very overblown in the game last night when there was a 4th and 1. Okay, granted, it's a long one at the Chiefs' own 31-yard line. Right. And the Chiefs went for it in a tie game.
Yep.
I did not think that was Andy Reid, embarrassing play call, losing the game, trying to make the offense a thing when the defense was actually leading the way. It's not like it was 4th and 6.
Well, America is not with you on that one.
I know.
He's getting destroyed.
I get it.
Everywhere and anywhere.
Guys, Rashee Rice drops. Patrick Mahomes getting pressure. Patrick Mahomes on a bad knee. All those things to me were so much of a bigger deal throughout the game than this one call from Andy Reid. And I understand that the Texans scored on the ensuing drive. I'm not a dummy. I just don't see how you have a team that went to 5 Super Bowls, won 3, has the greatest quarterback ever. And I always say play the game you're in. But, Pearl, it was 4th and a yard. We're not talking about some insurmountable thing here.
I'm with you, kind of. I think the reaction to this is maybe a little bit overstated. But the reality was it was freezing cold there. The Chiefs' defense was on fire there. Chris Jones was back.
He's so good.
So they should have punted. Absolutely should have punted. He wasn't playing the game he was in. He admitted after the game, he's like, wow, I really screwed that up. So
but to
basically
say that's
the
reason why they lost. Like, there's a lot of reasons. The stars for Kansas City did not show last night on offense.
Poor Rashee Rice almost got murdered on a play. I think he was not the same after that hit.
Yeah, by the way, no blue metal. This dude got blown up in his body, end over end.
I don't even know what happened to his body. It was unfortunately, and I'm not making light, it's like a car wreck. How bad his body just contorted after he got hit on this floater from Mahomes, and I think it was Jalen Petrie hit him.
I mean, where's
he
the
was not gonna be the same
independent
player.
neurologist person on that one? Did he even go to the medical?
I don't know if it was his head or his body, but you could definitely, he had a big drop later that I would attribute exactly to that play. I mean, Rashee Rice is a tough guy and he's a good wide receiver. So that's the thing. The Chiefs are, I am of the camp that they're just a little bit off. Like the field goal hits the doinks in, doinks out. Kareem Hunt, who never really drops a fourth down play or third down play, just drops a little pass. It was a beautifully designed play. Just a little bit off. Travis Kelce, as we heard in the highlight, drops a ball and it's an interception. There's just little things that have stacked up. But the other bottom line is they're 2 plays in, their tackle goes out.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? Their offensive line is a disaster. So there's a lot a lot of blame to go around. Now, well, you said something interesting. You think Andy Reid might be getting near the end in the sense, not because he's lost his skill, but he's in his late 60s. Do you think he's going to stick around here?
It crossed my mind. Now, listen, Andy Reid is a lifer. Like, remember the story, and I'm not trying to make light of this at all because God knows there's nothing to joke about with this. But do you remember with the story when he's sitting in his office and someone shot bullets into the office? We never did. Did he actually stop working? He might have just stuck around and kept grinding film. This dude is football and football only. So in some ways, I kind of feel like he might coach into like 70s, mid 70s. Like
well, most coaches do actually.
But
most coaches. I mean, Belichick same way.
He's not going into TV. You know, it's not going to be something like that. So I guess not. But the idea that, this is the end of an amazing run. I mean, they've made the playoffs every single year since Patrick Mahomes has been drafted. He actually turned things around with Alex Smith all those years back, even before that. And, but it just feels like a bookmark, a benchmark, I don't know, something where you have this amazing run and now it's going to be coming to an end. You mentioned the playoff simulator. I'm a little obsessed with it. 16% chance to make the playoffs now if you're Kansas City. It's over.
I feel like that number is too high because that would need to do that. I think the Texans would have to lose to the Raiders or some crazy. There would have to be some crazy results for that to actually happen. I could buy the Chiefs winning 4 games. They should have won last night. You're
saying 84% chance out, and you like that odds? No,
I think it's closer to 2 or 3%. Because honestly, you need the Jags to fall apart. The Colts, the Colts could lose out. That's easy.
Well, the Colts had some major
but you have
issues.
You have the Jags, the Texans, the Bills, and the Chargers. It's going to be hard for all those teams to implode.
Yeah, so they play the Chargers next week. But even if they win, it just goes up to 25% chance. But meanwhile, yes, the Kansas City, basically the only tiebreaker they have is against the Colts. And the Colts quarterback, who already was playing on a broken bone in his fibula, Daniel Jones, is now out for the year with an Achilles, and who knows if that puts next season also in jeopardy for Daniel Jones. So it's like the last team you want to have the tiebreaker over is the Colts because it doesn't. To be honest, I think the Texans are winning the division.
I think that Jags might.
Well, the Jags are in first place right now, no doubt. But I think the Texans, they've won 5 in a row. We talked a lot about the Chiefs. Let's talk about the team that won last night. They've won 5 straight. They now have an 87% chance to make the playoffs. This is all after they started 0-3.
66 2/3%. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning.
The problem is the offense, it has moments. It certainly has moments, but it's not nearly consistent enough yet. But their defense is so good, Pearl. May not matter. And I don't trust the Jags. I don't trust them as an organization. I don't know if I trust them now. Big win yesterday, but the Colts never win in Jacksonville, and the quarterback got hurt.
I mean, honestly, most likely both teams are making the playoffs, and we're talking about positioning really more than anything. I think the Jags could easily win this. I think they're going to have the tie. Oh, no, they're right about the same. They have the same divisional record and conference record, but the Jags do not have a hard schedule. So either way, both teams are going to beat the Chiefs. I don't know where this 16% comes from. I feel like you're giving false hope to the Chiefs.
No, they know what's going on.
The Texans are obviously, I think they're a pretty good team because their defense is crazy good. That was a perfect scenario for Houston. Just a really, really cold game where the receivers were having trouble holding onto the ball. And then the Chiefs lose an offensive lineman. I mean, it was tailor-made for Houston to run them, and still Kansas City should have won. There were so many plays. In the second half, you just felt, okay, this is where Kansas City takes over. Okay, this is where Kansas City takes over. Okay. And then it's not happening this year. It's the same story all year long.
Yeah, any of the multitude of 3-and-outs that the Chiefs defense forced to begin the second half would have been a good time. At one point, Kansas City was set up at the 50. Anyway, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. End of a mini era here with Kansas City.
Oh, they'll be back.
No, they're going to be back, but it's weird when you have, Mahomes is mostly healthy. This was Kelsey's probably last ride. That would probably be the biggest change. Kelsey's
I'm not
gone.
sure Mahomes is really healthy. He's got some issues. Yeah.
He popped up on the injury report this week, but he's not like out for the year.
Right.
And they don't make the playoffs. It's
Well, I mean, here's the thing. If it is over for this year, they have to right now, December 8th, start working on the offensive line for next year and do not relent until you fix that thing.
I agree with you. All right, you're welcome to weigh in on anything NFL related. We'll get to the Steelers' big win in Baltimore. We will get to the Packers finishing off the Bears in what was a final play for Chicago, Pearl, that we have a lot of questions about with Caleb Williams and in Cleveland. Boy, do they know the assignment. We'll get to that. But meanwhile, congratulations to our very own EJ Stewart. I'll tell you what, EJ, you worked hard out there, and your Miami Hurricanes got into the college football playoff. We got the announcement at noon, right before the games started, the NFL games, Pearl. And I was stunned. We all know the story now. Notre Dame, that had been ranked higher than Miami all year long by the committee, or not all year, since they started doing these rankings in November. Consistently, Notre Dame was ahead of Miami, even though Miami won the head-to-head. You had people screaming from the hills, how is this possible? How is this possible? Booger McFarland, I thought, did a great job of trying to explain this, which he said that week to week is a beauty contest, and at the end of the season, it's full resumes. That's a great way to explain it.
No, it's not.
But it still is not going to make a Notre Dame fan feel any better about what happened. So now Notre Dame's taking their ball and going home. They're not even going to participate in a bowl game. Is Marcus Freeman going to leave for the New York Giants? We have no idea. All of that is now on the table, Pearl, because the committee flip-flopped in the last moment when BYU lost. They dropped BYU. And that put Miami and Notre Dame back-to-back in the rankings, and that's when they finally had to acknowledge head-to-head.
I hear what the words you're saying are funny, but it's like you're saying Booger makes a good argument. No, there's no rhyme or reason here. There's no full resume. That's garbage. This is like a 4-year-old making a decision. That's like saying, that toddler's art is Picasso. What are you talking about? Full resume. They just made a random decision, and I don't know why. There's no end or if or whatever. Like I have no idea why they did this. I think people are trying to like break it down in logical reasons. It's just a waste of energy.
There's so much weird stuff to me that happened with these final rankings. Notre Dame and Miami flip-flopping is just the appetizer here. And I think one of the reasons why they did it, I think this is what the committee was ultimately weighing. Forget the resume stuff. Perloff's right. I mean, what am I, a rube? When I just get off the bus?
Yeah, like a logical reason. You're right.
Forget logic. I think this is what it came down to when it comes to Notre Dame and Miami and why they flip-flop. Notre Dame's out, Miami's in. It came down to, are we going to embarrass the ACC by not putting a team in with a Power 4 because
Duke won?
UVA lost to Duke in overtime in the ACC. So are we going to embarrass the ACC? And Jim Phillips, for I think as bad as a commissioner as he's been, I still think he has some power in that in the college football. So are we going to embarrass the Power 4 and leave them out completely? Or are we going to turn our back on the biggest national brand that exists in college football?
Well, Alabama gets massive ratings, but yes,
sure,
go ahead.
But there's one team that has a standalone network.
Yeah.
That, I think there are more Notre Dame fans throughout the world than probably any other college football team ever.
Alabama won the ratings every week this year.
Sure.
But yeah, they're like the Chiefs or the Eagles. or the Cowboys. But go ahead.
Yeah, so 1A, whatever you want to say, the tradition, all of that stuff of Notre Dame. And I think that's what it came down to. And they said, listen, while we have these conferences in a Power 4 and Notre Dame is independent, we cannot turn our back completely on one of our own.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's That's good. What about the alternative theory that ESPN runs this thing and they were screwing Notre Dame because Notre Dame is so adamant to stick with NBC?
I'm up for anything. I'm open
And
to
also,
it all.
one more thing, too. They couldn't screw Alabama over because they're already screwing over Vanderbilt and Texas, who would be 28-point favorites over a couple teams in this field. So I think there was they made an enemy of Greg Sankey, but they don't want to make a full enemy of the SEC. I think there was a lot going on. They couldn't drop Alabama out. That would have been a political move too far.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. You drop Notre Dame.
Yeah, but they were already killing the SEC in this thing.
How'd they kill the SEC? They
Because
got 5
Vanderbilt and
teams
Texas
in.
are good enough to be in there.
Yeah, well, but here's the thing. Okay, hold on one second. Let's talk about Alabama for a minute. I know we have a lot of fans in the South and who are going to be interested in this. Alabama not only lost their opener in a stinker, Alabama has now lost 2 of the last 3 SEC games that they've played, and that Auburn Iron Bowl that they won came down to the final minutes of the fourth quarter against a bad team.
Right.
So here's what I'm saying. I'll acknowledge this. College football in this era has a conference championship problem. No one knows what the heck to do with any of these. Why did every other team who lost in the conference championship drop at least one spot except for Alabama? They got smoked in that game. Now, they had already beaten Georgia once in Georgia, maybe the best win that any team had all season long. I'm not hating on Bama. I'm just wondering, why is it so different for them than every other team when they also have a bad loss to start the season, just like Notre Dame did? And Notre Dame's actually playing well at the end of the year, whereas Alabama, a little bit dicey at the end of the year. Lost to Oklahoma, needed every second against Auburn, and then just lost in the SEC championship game. And lost badly. I mean, that was not a game.
I would argue there are bigger forces at work here, too, because if they left out Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina last year. If they left out Alabama, Vanderbilt, and Texas this year, the CFP people, they do have jobs. Like, they got to worry about the SEC breaking off. Like, that'd be
so extreme, though, Pearl. Do you really think that would happen?
I think we are in extreme times. I mean, you saw Notre Dame say no to the bowl. I think Texas is still probably considering canceling Ohio State next year on Fox. We'll see. Like, this is not just as simple as like who is playing better football. Like, this is a time of complete change in college football, and there's a chance if you keep screwing around, the SEC will say, "Well, we're going to take our ball and go away." Like, I don't think they were going to leave Alabama out. That would have had massive political ramifications.
Wait, but hold on one second. First of all, it's massive political ramifications to leave Notre Dame out.
Yeah, but that's just NBC. Like, there's much bigger things going on with the entire SEC. You're talking about major program after program. You're talking about one network and one team.
No. What I'm talking about is the SEC and the Big Ten already acknowledge, like, they are going to run this thing starting next year. Right now, they can, after this year, there's like they can start making unilateral decisions between the two conferences, and basically they run the entire thing.
Yeah, but that's just the beginning. They could actually even take it further and really destroy the entire structure of the entire thing if they wanted to. I mean, we'll probably go to 16 next year and everyone will be okay. But I don't think that leaving Alabama out of this was something that the college football world wanted to do.
Well, I think that it would have been this was the whole thing. Leaving any of these Power 5 out when James Madison and Tulane both got in. Guys, I told you this last week. I thought this was setting up for fan outrage to grease the skids for expansion, because people are looking at James Madison and Tulane. They're looking at Notre Dame getting left out and saying, how could this happen? We need more teams. We need a bigger bracket. And that's exactly what they're going to go to.
Well, they didn't do that because of that. They were going to do a bigger bracket anyway.
Maybe. I don't know. They haven't voted on it yet. They keep pushing back the deadline and pushing it back. And now the ACC's outraged. And now, the SEC's outraged. And you're going to have all the Notre Dame fans who are going to be ticked off. And it's just, this thing's going to get bigger and more bloated until finally, well, we all know what's going to happen. The regular season's going to be ultimately meaningless.
Well, it's
all going to be about the playoff.
I don't think so. I think 16 is totally fine. You think, okay, let me just do this with me. If Alabama wasn't in today, do you think that we would be talking, and Notre Dame was in, don't you think there would be an SEC problem?
They still have 4 teams in, more than any other conference.
Okay. I think it'd be a massive problem because you're going to see Ty Simpson, Arch Manning, Diego Pavia at home. I think at some point it's going to be like, wait, what's happening here? I think it'd be a big problem. And honestly, I don't totally understand the Oklahoma love. Like, does anybody even want to see the Alabama-Oklahoma game?
Well, we just saw it.
I mean, by the way, like, I think the NFL is just laughing. I'm like, oh my God, you've turned what should be must-watch TV into an afterthought of a first round. I don't know how the committee did that on purpose or not, but like, I think those games are mid, except for Miami and Texas A&M. That game is good. The rest of them are like, why would anybody even really want to watch these?
Yeah, so the first opening round games, if you're just getting up to speed, is going to be James Madison, the last team in, traveling to Oregon. Then it'll be Alabama, Oklahoma, in Oklahoma. Tulane, Ole Miss, another repeat of a game we already saw this year. So we got a couple rematches here. Miami, Texas A&M, and that's your first opening round matchups.
Yeah. I get it. I'm happy for you, EJ, but I am a little sad because I love Jeremiah Love.
You love Jeremiah Love. A lot of SEC love here. A lot of propaganda to start this show.
Well, I mean, it's just a lot of boring teams got through. Let's be honest with you.
Miami's not one of those teams.
Carson Beck. Ugh.
Oh, have you watched Malachi Tony, who's 18 years old?
He's been
one most. Yeah, okay.
Carson Beck.
Right. Okay. Arch Manning was
10
awful for
Diego
most of the year.
Pavias over Carson Beck.
I take Malachi Tony on anybody you talked about in those teams that lost, except for Jeremiah Love. So get out of here with Texas and Vanderbilt.
We're going to see Diego Pavia. He'll be in New York at the Heisman. He's going to lose it to Fernando Mendoza, now the big star in college football.
Love there, too.
And Jeremiah Love will be there also. I'm wondering what people are most ticked off about. Is it about Notre Dame getting snubbed? Is it about 2 group of 5 teams getting in? Is it Alabama being in? Again, the sport has a conference championship problem. They don't know what the heck to do, Pearl, with the team that loses the conference championship. Should they be penalized? Should they not be penalized? Hell, Ohio State got penalized. Even they dropped because they lost a close game, an unbelievable Big Ten championship. They dropped. BYU dropped. UVA dropped. Alabama stays. I mean, explain it. You can't. You cannot, unless you're just going with brand. And by the way, I have one other smaller gripe here that I'll get to about seeding. And you know I love our fans in Oregon. We ride with you guys, Oregon. Perloff and I have both been to Autzen. We love it. But, you guys got very lucky here. Why is Oregon ranked 5th right now? Who do they beat? Penn State, who went into free fall, took them 2 overtimes, and then the team completely cratered. USC? Notre Dame beat USC. Didn't mean anything. You beat Iowa on the road? Iowa, tough place to play. That game was not awesome. And you lost to Indiana at home by 10 points. I just don't see how Oregon gets to 5 to get a home game against James Madison, which I didn't even check the spread on this game, but it's got to be.
I think it's 3 touchdowns.
It's 20 and a half.
Yeah, 2 of the games are above 2 touchdowns, right?
Yep. Another one, I think it's 17 and a half. 17, Ole Miss, Tulane. They already played it, by the way, and Ole Miss blew them out.
I hear you, Maggie, but who are you putting ahead of them that's behind Oregon? Ole Miss without a coach, Texas A&M who lost to Texas, who people don't respect, Oklahoma, who has kind of been hot and cold, Alabama, Miami. Who is Oregon below? Ole Miss?
Probably Ole Miss.
But I mean, Ole Miss, I don't know
Lane's
how they're
not there, but they got their offensive coordinator who's going to be there. So I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean that'd be the one, or A&M, I guess. It doesn't really matter. By the way, and I love that Ohio State loss is nice for Ohio State. You got to coach again after a loss. That was a big deal. I'm all about dropping that meaningless exhibition game to Indiana. People are not thinking next level with these conference championship games. They are fancy exhibition games that have no indication of what's going to happen next.
Well, I don't know, because last year every team that got a first-round bye got smoked. So
well, right. That's why Ohio State.
Except for Texas, except for Arizona State, they put.
That's
what
I'm saying. I'm psyched that Ohio State lost that game. Because honestly, it's hard to beat a team twice like Indiana. I don't know what that game meant.
It was a fun game for Mendoza, that's for sure. He's something else.
Really?
Yeah, he's got an interesting kind of Kirk Cousins and Tim Tebow had a baby situation going on.
I don't know about him.
It's all
if he goes number 1, I
PG.
think if he goes number 1, I'm curious how much excitement there is about that.
I don't know. I think he won over a lot of fans in that Big Ten championship game. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. And if you've got Kurt Signetti's sign off, I mean, that's as good as gold right now, because that guy is the king of the sport. All right, we have so much to do. You guys know the drill on Mondays. If we're not talking about your team, give us a ring. 888-710-4ISN. All the NFL, all the conference championship games, college football rankings. What are you ticked off about? Let us know. What are you excited about? Let us know that too. It's Maggie Perloff.
All right, Maggie, all those sports going on. What is the best way to enjoy them all? It's got to be Prize Picks. And right now, you can keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. All you have to do is simply pick 2 to 6 players, pick more or less on their stat projections, and watch your lineups light up. So many different sports going on right now. And listen, big game for me tonight with the Birds and the Chargers. What's your strategy headed into a busy Monday night?
Okay, well, do you know what Jalen Hurts' passing yards is set at on Prize Picks right now?
Is it double digits instead of triple digits?
Not quite. 191.5.
Okay. That is a little gaudy for my guy.
I'm fading him. I'm going to go less than with Jalen Hurts passing yards. And you know who I'm going to put it together with? How about a little De'Aaron Fox, 23.5 points. San Antonio Spurs playing the Pelicans tonight. See, this is why we love Prize Picks. Coming off a big weekend, let's keep it going. You got Monday Night Football tonight, Perloff's Birds against the Chargers, and then all the NBA, all the hockey, everything is right at your fingertips. All you got to do is download the Prize Picks app today, use the code M&P, get $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code M&P on Prize Picks. You get $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. So win or lose, you'll get $50 bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, it is good to be right. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
People big bad at
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff show. All right, Maggie, a lot of controversy about the college football playoff. Ohio State is still favored. They lost a garbage fest to Indiana, 13-10, and it reminded me a lot of last year when they decided to not show up offensively against Michigan and then rolled everybody in the playoff. I am betting on Ohio State because I don't think Indiana's going to be able to beat them twice. Indiana's second in odds. That's usually the way it happens. So we'll see what happens here. Then I kind of am just curious about everybody else. That's how I describe the other teams in the field. Then Georgia is obviously a legit team. I have no idea what everyone else is going to do. Any of these teams could run the table or just look terrible in their first game.
I got to be honest. I think this is setting up really well for Oregon. Now, I mentioned I'm surprised they're ranked so high. Does Oregon deserve to be the 5th-ranked team in the country? I don't know what in their resume would give you that. But meanwhile, they get an opening round against James Madison, then Texas Tech. And I'm not disrespecting Tech. I know that they're legit, but never been on this stage. And every team that had a bye last year got boat raced except for Arizona State against Texas. So I don't know what's that going to be like. And it's not going to be in Lubbock. It's going to be at a neutral site. It's at the Orange Bowl. Okay.
Okay, so say they win that game.
And then you're also in the same side of the bracket as Alabama and Oklahoma and Indiana. And I know Indiana's awesome, but I'll take that side to me over. I don't want to see Ohio State. I don't want to see Georgia. So I think Oregon might have a shot here.
Shot to what? So how are they going to beat Ohio State again?
Well, that would be in the championship.
I don't know. That's still. First of all, do not sleep on Texas Tech. That defensive line, whoa.
I know. I'm just going off of, I know it's not a trend because it only happened once, but what we saw last year where these guys got a lot of time to think about it and sit around and, feel awesome about themselves, and they came out and got smacked in the mouth because the team had played the week before. So let's go to the phones. 888-710-4ISN. Tyrone's in Dallas. Good morning, Ty.
Good morning. And to my boy EJ, I want to say go Canes. And I want to tell Kansas City fans, right. I want to tell Kansas City fans, fret not, man. Y'all got the quarterback. All y'all need to do is fix y'all offensive line and go get you an ex-receiver that's going to catch the passes in the middle of the field, unlike Rice, who dropped a whole bunch of them. And y'all are back on. Your defense good, and you got your quarterback. Offensive line, and ex-receiver. And y'all going to be right back in it next year.
Tyrone, it's so nice of you to feel bad for the Chiefs and be giving advice for the Chiefs. They're going to be okay. This year, terrible, bro. I mean, just disaster.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of work to do here. They have to figure out, hey, because there's old guys. Kelsey can't do this that much longer.
Kelsey should retire, and and Chris Jones took that game over in the second half.
He's getting old too,
but he's still amazing. He was the best thing last night.
But they have to find a sort of a lane to rebuild while still being awesome. That's always kind of hard.
Let's go to Ramon, who's in Indianapolis. Oh, Ramon, Indy was on top of the sports world, and then Daniel Jones goes down.
Daniel Jones went down, but Maggie, he went down about the last 3-4 weeks before going down. And what's so ignorant about it, before I get to everything else real quick, is that we gave up 2 picks for Sauce Gardner, which I didn't think, first-round picks. And now we have no quarterback. You're not going to re-sign him with a torn Achilles and give him 35 minutes to injure quarterback. Now we have no one. So we don't have a first-round pick. We have no one now. You may be able to get somebody in the second round. I think we have the second-round pick. Maybe able to get somebody there. But we're in bad shape. Bears, Ben Johnson blew that game yesterday. Why do you have 4th and 1? Run the ball. We just ran the ball down. They throw 2 straight drives.
Yep.
Run the ball. And then if you're going to have him go out, why is he going left? Ben Johnson sometimes overthinks himself. As far as Buffalo's concerned, Josh Allen right now is carrying that team. I mean, you can carry a team to win. We've seen it happen. Baltimore got cheated. The Rams are quietly supposed to be the best team, but I want to see them when they get pushed. I think Green Bay can push them. I think Green Bay's better. Even with Michael Parsons, you see those double teams he was commanding.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to help out. And then lastly, Maggie, just you got to admit it, defense is back. Chris Collinsworth admitted yesterday with the Patriots, with Houston, and with Denver, defense is back. Watch out. What do you think, Perloff? Philly's still in it with defense out there. The defense still there? Thank you.
Ramon, thank you very much. A lot to react to there. Go ahead.
Well, Caleb always goes left. He's good because that's the Mahomes fourth down play where you roll to your left. It's just somehow the Packers had 9 guys right there in front of him. He could have, I think in a normal situation, he would have run for it, but he saw there was a lot of yellow and green right in front of him. That was a messed up play. But yeah, maybe they should have run it. But at 4th and 1, when you have a quarterback like that, I think you want the run pass option. So I'm not going to kill him for the play call.
Caleb Williams run the ball. You
right,
needed a yard. We're talking about the last play, the last drive for Chicago.
There were a lot of guys right around that line of scrimmage. That was going to be bang, bang.
No, but he had already. Okay, so we're talking about the final drive for Chicago in the game against Green Bay. It's a back and forth game. Chicago comes storming back in the second half, and they are driving to either tie or, if they want to get nuts, they might have gone for 2. Maybe they would have won the game. I have no idea. But anyway, they're at a 4th and 1 near the 10, and Caleb Williams rolls out to his left, tries to go for the end zone shot, does not see DJ Moore, who was open, and does not choose to run the ball. Instead, throws right into Nixon, who comes up with the interception for Green Bay. Game over. And it was an exciting game. I love it. I love now Caleb and Jordan Love are going to be going back and forth in the division for years to come. Like, that's super exciting from the outside with no dog in the fight. But Pearl, I mean, there were multiple options there for Caleb, and he picked the worst one.
I'm not sure. I watched the play again today if he makes it on it with his legs. It would have been real interesting. Because it's not like the Packers weren't aware of that.
No, but he's running to the sideline. There was no one. He had space.
I watched it again. I'm like, oh, they might have gotten to him. Yeah, and listen, you're right. He did not see player. I'm not going to kill him for that. I don't think he's very consistent at all, by the way. I think the interesting thing is Ben Johnson there, even more than Caleb Williams. And I want to see Ben Johnson and Matt LaFleur go at it because they do not like each other. It was very clear.
Yeah, like the little frosty handshake at the end. A couple frosty handshakes yesterday. That I was a little surprised by. And Ramon mentioned Baltimore getting screwed. The Isaiah Likely touchdown. I mean, basically just the cliff notes here, and Baltimore did not play well yesterday, but they were still in this game, Pearl. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, Pittsburgh acknowledged you can actually throw the ball down the field, and they won that game. But what do you have to do to score a touchdown in this dumb league? You got to catch the ball, you got to secure it, couple steps, you got to Macarena, do the Dougie, and you got to do 5 backflips, and then finally Gene Steratore will come and say, yes, that's a touchdown. I mean, what are we doing here, Pearl?
Is that a bit here?
No, I'm just asking. What do you have to do to score a freaking touchdown in this league? Like, what Isaiah Likely has the ball, making the football moves. He's in the end zone. It gets knocked out at the end. He was in the end zone.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is obviously very conscious. What's a catch? What's not a catch? That was obviously a catch. I couldn't believe they overturned that one, and obviously a little bit of thing going on because of Isaiah Likely. What happened last week when he got the ball stripped at the goal line? So yeah, I don't know. The funny thing is, would they have called it a fumble or an incomplete pass? Like, was that if that happened on the play of the field, they wouldn't have called that a fumble. That's what's amazing to me. They would have called it incomplete. It's really hard to tell in the end zone, but. Yeah, they screwed him on that one. I think they would have won the game, too, if they'd scored there.
Listen, I mean, Ravens start the season 1-5, so what are you going to do? But they did go on a 5-game winning streak, and they just...
I mean, they always lose to Mike Tomlin. Tomlin has the special sauce on Lamar Jackson, and I wouldn't overrate the meaning of this game personally because I've seen Tomlin beat Lamar a million times and turn around and lose the next game to a bad team. He just knows that team like the back of his hand.
Well, for the Ravens, I mean... It's real, right? Playoff simulator, 30% chance now to make the playoffs. Not where you want to be. Let's get to Andrew Bogusch.
Take you 33 and a third chance minus my 25% chance, and you got an 8 and a third chance of winning.
That's how we roll around here. up, folks?
Your headlines are sponsored by, not me, Prize Picks. On Prize Picks, you simply pick 2 to 6 players, choose more or less, and watch your lineups light up like the holidays. Download Prize Picks, use code PRIMETIME.
Don't forget, I had 2 sons, right?
And get $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details. It has been more than a decade since the Chiefs were under 500 in December, but here they are, 6-7 this morning.
Snap to Mahomes, back to throw on 2nd and 10. He looks, he double clutches, he throws, it's bobbled. It is intercepted, maybe. Looking for a signal. I think the Texans picked it off. Azeez Al-Shire intercepted it. Off the deflection
of Travis Kelce, 3rd INT on Sunday Night Football for Patrick Mahomes. There were also 2 late, debatable, failed 4th downs in this 2010 home loss to the Texans. KC's playoff outlook has gotten very bleak, but
you can never question the fight of this team, and obviously we're not executing at the right moments, and we're not making those plays. But at the end of the day, you'll never question that.
Even if Mahomes and friends win their final 4 games, they would only have a 52% chance of making the playoffs. The Jets now have a 0% chance to make the postseason, eliminated with yesterday's 34-10 home loss to the Dolphins. They already had the longest playoff drought in our 4 major leagues. It's now 15 years, but Miami stays alive barely with its 4th win in a row. Mike McDaniel saying something less tedious than usual postgame.
I was happy that I didn't feel, once we got the lead, I didn't feel like they were trying to preserve the lead. They were playing football.
Far fewer ums and uhs and pauses from Mike.
Couple.
After a win. There's a couple. Couple, but far off his normal pace
he had
after a
an
loss.
hour to get his thoughts together on what he was going to say in the post game. I'm sorry, EJ, but your Jets were not competitive yesterday.
Listen, I already told you guys, there's a pendulum of what kind of fan enjoyment I can have. So worse the Jets off, better Miami is. This is how this works out.
I didn't even know Brady Cook was on the team.
Oh, I knew because they were talking about him all week because of Justin Fields being hurt. And Aaron Glenn said, this guy's going to be an NFL quarterback.
He did.
I don't know if it's now.
It's not.
Or when it's going to be. Or when.
I liked him at Mizzou before he got hurt.
But it'll happen at some point. I'm like, well, he may play this week, so I hope it's this week. It was not.
Yeah. It's not just Notre Dame skipping bowl season. Iowa State and K-State declining all invites after their coaching changes. That'll cost them a $500,000 fine from the Big 12. In the NBA, a DNP for SGA, but another W for OKC.
Left flank Dub crossing over, snaking down the lane to the rim. Thunders down a big right-hand delivery. Oh, Dub, don't be so mean. 19 for him. And OKC with 7:45 left in the third quarter leads it 83-58.
That's Matt Pinto on Thunder Radio. Jalen Williams, 25 points, 8 assists, and a 131-101 roll through Utah last night. The Thunder have now won 15 straight and are 23-1 overall. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander sitting out with a left elbow issue. And the Contemporary Baseball Era Committee has elected Jeff Kent to Cooperstown. He is the home run leader among second basemen. Whoa. On the flip side, Clemens, Bonds, Fernando Valenzuela, and Gary Sheffield all appeared on less than 5 of these 16 ballots, so they cannot be considered the next time this committee votes. Their next eligibility comes in 2030, I believe. Guys, back to you.
Folks, thanks. I just got to update one thing from Brett McMurphy, who's going to join us in the next hour. He's saying 7 teams have now said that no thanks to bowls.
So there's one particular game that no one wanted to go to, but Iowa State,
Georgia Southern.
Yes.
Apparently, they cannot find an opponent right now.
Right,
so.
But Iowa State and K-State were bowl eligible, so they get a Big 12 fine. Baylor was 5-7.
Oh, they're going to the next tier, and these
so
teams
as an alternate, they're allowed to say no without punishment. Iowa State and K-State backing out of eligibility is why they're getting punished by their league.
It's just crazy because this costs money to send teams to bowl games.
And the band, and you got to pay for tickets. And
they just don't, they'd rather use their money on paying players. I get it.
Sure.
I also thought something interesting. You used to go to the bowl, so you got another few weeks of practice with your team. But now it's like, why are you practicing with these guys? They're going to another team next year.
It's not your team.
Yeah, because the transfer portal, so you're not really practicing with your team. You're practicing maybe with some of the guys, but I don't think that's as valuable.
888-710-4ISN, Bogues. Thanks so much. You guys know the drill. Mondays, you want to talk about your team and what's going on in your life, give us a call, 888-710-4ISN, and we will try to get to everything under the sun, including the new team to beat in the NFC. It's a Maggie and Perloff show.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. So much to react to over the weekend, from all the NFL craziness to the college football playoff rankings, snubs for Notre Dame. Alabama gets to stay, even though they lost to Georgia in the SEC championship game. Indiana is your number 1 seed after beating Ohio State in the Big Ten. And the Miami Hurricanes got in, the only ACC team to get into this bracket, because UVA lost to Duke in overtime in their conference championship game. And there's just carnage everywhere. Meanwhile, Big Friendly wants to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Good morning, Friendly. How are you?
Good morning, Great Mac Ramsey, Daddy Cool, EJ the Bionic EP, Little Big Swifty, and the gentleman who looks like he could be EJ's brother. Now,
Ray Jarvis on the board today. Congrats to Manny Rodriguez, his brother, and his brother's wife had a baby over the weekend. We're super excited. Manny's spending some time with them. What's up, Friendly?
Okay, I was wondering where Manueli was. Okay, real quick. And what is a fumble, Maggie? Because when I watched the Bears and Packers game, the Bears fumbled, the Packers recovered, the Bears got the ball after the play was over. They gave the ball to the Bears. So, who knows? Okay,
Friendly,
real quick.
I don't know what a fumble is. I don't know what a touchdown is. I don't know I think the NFL, as we know, they've been winging it for years. And by the way, don't sleep on this. I was telling Perloff I was shocked by this. All of a sudden now, replay assist can be wrong? That's a fun plot twist for Week 14, because who on their earth would challenge that in risk of losing a timeout if New York or headquarters has already told you the outcome of the play? Anyway, go ahead, Friendly.
Yeah, Vegas knows the rules. Real quick. Stephanie Stefanski should be tarred and feathered, drawn and quartered, and sent out of town. And please forgive me, and in that order. Shedeur Sanders yesterday threw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, ran for 29 yards and a touchdown. Name me 3 quarterbacks that did better. He took that man out. And this is what I was noticing in that game. The whole game, when he's watching Shedeur Sanders do good, he kept his hands in his pocket, never gave a motion. When Dylan Gabriel's out there, he's talking to him, he's clapping, he's celebrating. This Maggie Malone, this man is doing everything to sabotage this young man's career. And this is just my opinion. Shedeur Sanders is marketable without the NFL. People say he celebrates. Am I the only one who gets frustrated when I see the Dodgers do that little funky dance on base when they get a base hit and I want to throw a rock at the stadium?
Well, everyone does that, Friendly. You got teams that have the Mariners have a Triton.
That's what I'm trying to say. We're in the time of life now where the celebrations and all that is what people want to see, and I'm all for it. Shedeur Sanders is a global market-building person, and the NFL is mad because they can't get a hold of what he has off the field. Just my opinion, because what the man did yesterday, Maggie, he deserved to get that 2-point conversion attempt.
Yeah, so Friendly, let me set it up for the audience. Thank you for that. It's just hard. This is one where I don't know if it's a global conspiracy against Shedeur, but it's starting to look a little weird. I'll give you that. Why do they never let him handle the ball in the low red zone? Pearl, Kevin Stefanski comes up with these funky trick plays. And so after they score the touchdown and they're going for 2, instead, it was the Judkins gets the direct snap, starts running, doesn't get the handoff to what? Was that Gage Larvadan that he was supposed to do the handoff to? Anyway, misses the handoff and then throws back into traffic. You know why you're running back throwing that ball. No shot. And obviously it fell short, and Tennessee wins the game. Pearl, I saw this and I'm like, man, Stefanski knows the assignment. Browns need to lose these games because they're trying to tank for next year to get a new quarterback. I'm not alleging any great conspiracy. I just think they want to lose games because it helps them ultimately in April.
I mean, they did a lot they did a lot to achieve that goal yesterday because they just lost to the worst team in the league. And by the way, they've been so conservative with Shedeur. Finally, they let him cook a little bit because they were trailing. But the 2 previous games, he never got to throw it either.
Nope.
But Dylan Gabriel didn't really get to throw the ball downfield either. I'm not sure. I understand what he's saying about it does seem that he's not excited about Shedeur, but I think that's a little bit of a leap because we don't really know what's going on in the locker room. I know there are a lot of people who think that the Browns are screwing over Shedeur, but we're not in there. Maybe Stefanski's developing. He looked good yesterday.
He did, especially in the weather. I mean, sure, played in weather because he played in Colorado, but that was a nasty one yesterday with the rain and snow. Not as bad as Buffalo, but still. What's weird about it is Shedeur, for the most part, has really said the right things. But yesterday they were asked about that botched 2-point conversion play. Said, "Did you run in practice?" They go, "Yeah, we ran in practice." And how'd it go in practice? It failed. All right. Let's trot it out there against the Titans in crunch time. I don't know. I think Kevin Stefanski gets an attaboy from the front office for that loss yesterday. Coming up next, more NFL.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
And Mendoza takes the snap, wants to throw it, fires it down the field. It's for Elijah Surratt. He makes the catch. Touchdown! Elijah Surratt, 17-yard pick for a TD. And Indiana's back on top.
And Indiana would win the Big Ten. Wow, thank you to Indiana Radio. 13-10 is the final score. Still kind of hard to wrap your brain around, even though Indiana's been excellent, Pearl, all year long. They were excellent last year. Curt Cignetti's first year with the program, but with Fernando Mendoza, who wrapped up the Heisman most likely with that performance on Saturday night. And it was close. I mean, Ohio State's kicker kicks a field goal and makes it. We got a tie game, and then who knows what happens. But you know, Indiana deserves all the flowers, like how they have turned this around. They've never won the Big Ten before. You know, they haven't been this competitive since the 60s. It's nuts what they're able to do, even in a down year for the Big Ten.
Right. But this means nothing. That game was an exhibition game. Can we agree on that?
To them, it did. I mean, I hear what you're saying. Yeah. And as someone who was sitting on my couch watching it, I get it. But then I'm looking at how choked up and how exuberant they all were. It looked to me like Ohio State was trying. I did not think that they didn't mail it in.
Both teams were hitting.
But I'll give you this. College football has a conference championship problem. No doubt about that, because the committee with the final rankings dropped some teams that lost, but not Alabama, who had already basically gotten credit for beating Georgia once this year, but now got credit for getting blown out by Georgia, which I don't understand, because BYU certainly did not get credit for getting blown out by Texas Tech.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, because we're in this 12-team playoff, does it really matter?
It mattered to BYU.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought we were talking about it. I was looking at the Indiana-Ohio State play. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I mean, the problem is you're not going to get consistency with this 12 teams no matter what you do. Like, honestly, can you pick apart one little decision here and one little decision there?
Yes. Yeah. But they all kind of...
Because it's not just the conference championship game. It's all sorts of other little things that are impossible to add together and make one coherent piece out of.
Yeah, but it feels like the committee is doing a particularly bad job on this. And maybe it's because they are doing a weekly television show. Because while Indiana had the best win of the weekend, no doubt, the big headline here is Miami and Notre Dame flipping at the last minute because BYU lost to Texas Tech, and that dropped them out of the top 12. So now Miami and Notre Dame were literally back-to-back with each other in the rankings, and that's when the committee, who had not been factoring in head-to-head at all, suddenly had to factor it in.
Right. They did give a warning the week before that they might do that.
Yeah, but still, then they had Notre Dame for 7 weeks were ranked ahead of Miami. So I'm no Notre Dame apologist, but I can understand why the fan base, the team, the players are suddenly very upset about this. Like, you're being led one way, and then the rug gets pulled out from you right at the last minute.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
I mean,
It's nonsensical. Miami would have also felt heartbroken too, just to be clear. Both teams were in a really hard position there. It's a shame that you had to pit them against each other like this. But I understand the head-to-head argument. I understand Notre Dame's argument too. It was an impossible situation. But honestly, I think there are other teams that both Miami and Notre Dame probably could have been in over anyway. The problem is the unbalanced scheduling. Notre Dame, with this weird ACC schedule, kind of brought it upon themselves. You can't play Purdue, NC State, Maryland, and Navy and Army. And at some point, you're going to have to look at that schedule and say, I hate to say this, you might even want to be in a conference, but next year they have a rule where they get in no matter what. Did you see that rule?
I did.
Yeah.
So there's a proposal that, and I guess they've agreed to it, that if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, then they automatically get a spot. So they're ranked 11th right now, but they don't get in because the group of 5 got Tulane and James Madison both into the bracket. So the 10th spot was the only at-large bid, the last at-large bid that was available. And in the 11th hour, it goes to Miami and to the Hurricanes. Mo, I hope I'm explaining that in a way that people understand. Next year, if Notre Dame is ranked in the top 12, Pearl, they're saying they automatically get in. And I don't love that, by the way. Because now it feels like we're doing the other thing. We're bending over backwards to get Notre Dame in. Now, here's the thing about Notre Dame. You mentioned the schedule. It's not very good. But they do try to compensate for that by scheduling tough teams at the beginning of the season, which they consistently do. So this year played Miami and then played Texas A&M back-to-back, but they lost both of those games.
Right. But if you were in a conference, say you were in the Big Ten or SEC, you might run it, probably not in the Big Ten, but you might run into 5 hard games instead of 2 hard games.
Yeah, and listen, Nick Saban had an interesting take yesterday on a couple different things, but one is that how come like some teams are being judged on one set of criteria and other teams are being judged on another set of criteria. And I think he was doing this kind of to back Alabama and to kind of throw a little cold water on Tulane and James Madison. But his point, I guess, remains. My biggest beefs with the committee were this. I did feel a little bad for Notre Dame, which has never happened to me before in my life. I've never felt bad for Notre Dame ever, but I don't actively root against them, but I'm not like an enthusiast necessarily. But I did feel bad for those guys because all of a sudden the season's just over when you've been led to believe you're going to be in the bracket. And then they decline out of the bowl game. So now for some of these seniors who are never going to play again, like that's it.
Yeah,
your college career is now totally over. And like, let's be honest, even with programs like Notre Dame, most people are going pro in something other than sports, if we remember that old tagline. So that's it. Career's over. So that I feel a little bad about. I think Alabama, again, college has a conference championship problem. I don't know if Alabama should be in this bracket, Pearl. They have not played well in the last month. They got boat raced by Georgia, steamrolled. Maybe not boat race because the final score wasn't like 50-0.
Right.
But they've lost 2 of the last 3 SEC teams that they played against. They needed every minute basically to beat Auburn. And they also have that bad loss to FSU to start the season. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do.
Are you making the BYU argument here, or are you making a Miami Notre Dame argument against Alabama? Who would you put in?
Well, kind of. Well, that's what I'm wondering because like every other team who lost a conference championship got dinged for it except for Bama. Why?
So wait, but who would you, if you dropped them out, is that to make room for Notre Dame or to make room for BYU?
Probably. Well, I think actually, I want to say BYU.
Yeah.
Because I don't. But again, if I'm going to make the case for BYU shouldn't get dinged for losing the conference championship game, then I just made the case for Alabama. So I guess it has to be Notre Dame.
I guess just to take a quick observation,
yeah,
they picked the teams that had like some of the highest peaks throughout the season. I don't think Notre Dame, as far as their schedule goes and peaking goes, they had a higher peak than Alabama or even Miami at a certain point this year. So maybe that played a role in the selection process.
Yeah, probably. and the fact that
there's no logic.
What do you mean there's no logic?
There's no logic.
Notre Dame had better losses, I think.
You know what Maggie just said about the conference championships game? None of this makes sense.
No, there was no logic in how they ranked them throughout the season.
Yes.
That I agree with.
There
was 100% logic in why Miami got picked over Notre Dame. If you don't see that, then you're just blind. I mean,
well, right, but Ray was saying this peak theory.
Right, I mean, yeah, and it does seem like for some reason, to Ray's point though, bad losses didn't crush teams the way maybe it has in the past. Because
except for Texas.
Right, except for Texas, but they had 3 losses, so that's a little different. But I think Miami had quote-unquote bad loss. They weren't that bad. But to average ACC teams, and Alabama had this loss to a terrible ACC team. But the committee looked at, well, you had this big win against Notre Dame. Alabama, you had this big win against Georgia. And sorry, BYU, you didn't beat anybody. Sorry, Notre Dame, you didn't beat anybody. So therefore, you go home. I think there is some correlation to that. Those teams, even though they have no bad losses, they just didn't have any. They didn't beat anybody good enough to really warrant a spot in the field. And I understand that.
And I'm telling you, all of this distraction with Notre Dame over Miami over Notre Dame, Notre Dame getting left out, which is stunning by the committee, just on brand alone, which we know matters, Pearl. I'm just shocked that Notre Dame is not in this field. James Madison getting in, Tulane getting in, Alabama getting in. All of this stuff is really just distracting us from the fact that Oregon now has a path, which to me is crazy. They're the fifth-ranked team with a home game against JMU. And then they are not in the side of the bracket with Georgia or Ohio State.
Well, yeah, but even so, they have a path, but they would eventually play Georgia or Ohio State
in the championship game. I mean, that's pretty awesome to make it all the way there.
Well, okay, maybe, but the thing is, are they a good enough team to even get there? I think Texas Tech should not be taken lightly.
No, they're not.
They've kind of got a little pro team going on there. Their quarterback is. I don't totally trust. I don't trust them to stay healthy for a game, by the way, but their backup can win games too. I think that's going to be a great, great game. First round stinks. I'm so excited for the second round.
The only reason why I'm saying I think that, I think every team who has a bye is vulnerable. As we saw last year, sitting home, getting rusty did not help any of these teams. Now, we'll see if that was a one-year anomaly, but you get the home games in the first round. By the time you get to the second round, we're in the Orange Bowl. We're in the Cotton Bowl. We're already in the neutral site. Takes a lot of the flavor away.
What were those I don't have them in front of me. What were those actual second round? The first team buys last year, were they all that good, though?
Well, Oregon was number 1, and they got destroyed by Ohio State.
Yeah, but that was the second time they had to play Ohio State. And they won that first game in the last second play where Will Howard slid at the wrong time.
Yeah.
That's a hard assignment.
Bro, it wasn't even competitive. That game
was totally
over
competitive, by the way.
In the first quarter.
Dylan Gabriel threw for like 400 yards. Ohio State hit him in the mouth, and Oregon came back too slowly.
Notre Dame beat Georgia in a game where Georgia's offense did nothing. This was Gunnar Stockton. I think his first start.
Yeah.
So if you want to maybe explain that away, you could. But Gunnar Stockton had a great year this year. So, and then you had one of the close games. The only game Maggie's mentioning was the Arizona State Texas game, where Arizona State came back and Cam Skattebo essentially had his origin story revealed to the
but
national
Arizona State
world.
was the underdog in that game, so that was not surprising. I mean, they were
but it was close. I mean,
they were there because they were a conference champ. They were not a top 10 team even.
So should the teams with buys find a way to get a home game built in and kind of get the bowl games out of the equation?
I would say my argument would be you're having very, very small sample size with just 1 year of this, and they're probably the only year of it. By the way, because next year is going to be different. There'll be 2 years of this system and then maybe a different system next year. We have no idea. I would expect Ohio State and Indiana to do well in this tournament.
Let's go to Jim, who's in South Carolina. Jim, you're a big Notre Dame fan, right?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, first of all, I just want to say that I have already congratulated EJ. Said I hope that their Hurricanes do well. This has nothing to do with Miami. There is a new shirt out that will replace the Catholics versus Convicts infamous shirt. It now says Catholics versus Common Sense, and I think that fits this entire scenario. It makes zero sense why, again, the committee would put in a Tulane and a James Madison, get no eyes on those games so that they get trucked. It's just incredible that we're saying we're going to put in the top 12 teams, but then we put in 2 teams that absolutely just get run out of the stadium.
Yeah, well, that's a function of the format. Like they didn't want to do the highest ranked conference champions because it just backfired. But Jim, I like the idea of Catholics versus common sense, but the only thing is most people using common sense felt like Miami should have been over Notre Dame this whole time because they beat them head to head.
Well, and I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, common sense didn't rule. I want to read just a short little something that Brady Quinn put out. He said, so folks at ESPN are upset that Notre Dame isn't playing in a bowl game after weeks of folks politicking against the lack of conference affiliation, using them as a pawn for the college football playoff selection show, having the ACC network play the Miami Notre Dame game on repeat 48 hours during the conference championship week. But now it's a bad look. They don't want to serve ESPN's best interest by playing in an exhibition bowl game. Got it.
Yeah,
Brady
I know
Quinn.
that.
Ooh, yeah. Brady Quinn runs their NIL, doesn't he? I think he runs Notre Dame. Jim, thank you so much for weighing in, and sorry how the season ended for your Fighting Irish.
I love the TV angle that the networks, because obviously Notre Dame is run by a former NBC executive, Pete Bavacqua, who actually I worked for slightly a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely, I think the TV has a big role in this. I cannot believe, if you're going to go conspiracy, that's where I would start. The halls of Disney versus the halls of NBC versus Fox. Oh, it's all good stuff.
Right. So Brady Quinn is saying that on the ACC network this whole week, they were replaying Miami's win over Notre Dame to try to, sway the committee that Miami should be in.
Yeah.
Miami should have always been ranked over Notre Dame. See, that's the problem. You just got to rewind all of this and undo.
It did feel that way. I don't remember everybody saying that when Notre Dame was winning every game by 40 about a month ago.
No, a lot of people were saying it.
I've been complaining for about a month. What are you
Really?
talking about?
I feel like, when Notre Dame was like 7 and Miami was 15 or something, I did not hear this. Then all of a sudden my entire Twitter feed became, Miami should be ahead of Notre Dame. After who were the two losses? SMU and Louisville? Yeah. After the Louisville loss, everyone was like, oh my God, didn't Beck throw 4 interceptions?
That was the first CFP ranking when Miami was 18 and Notre Dame was 10. But I think the problem was people assumed Miami was going to lose more games. So, I guess they're not that good. When it turned out they just had issues with the thing.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Brett McMurphy is going to join us from On 3 in just a moment. We'll get his thoughts on what was the most egregious mistake that the College Football Playoff Committee made yesterday. 888-710-4ISN. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Well, Robin's out in San Francisco where the fog rolls in slow and grand. She still ain't forgiven Maggie for saying San Fran on the air that day. Said it cut her soul like a rusty saw and she won't let it go, no way. She called the show and said, girl, don't you shorten my city's name. Ever since then, Robin's been holding that grudge like wildfire in the rain. Somewhere back in Jersey, Peabody still not at his desk. They keep calling his name through the hallway and getting nothing but empty air. If work was a horse, he never saddled it, he just waved from the rocking chair. So here's to the chaos and the glorious plan. Infinity fell off the cliff and that was that. No merger, no rescue, no hero to sin. Just a loud, messy thumb and a God help us, amen. Robin's mad at Maggie, but Lottie ain't punched in EJ, sipping OJ Bev again. And somewhere out there, Drunkle Sam's giving thanks with a grin. EJ stumbles in with a late night craving, Taco Bell wrappers in his truck. OJ Bim in his hand like a trophy, swear he don't ever give that up. Says life's too short for water and too long for being sober past 10. He'll toast to the sunrise every morning and do it all over again. Infinity's heartbeat slowing, boys, you can hear it in the static tone. The lights flicker low like a bar sign dying. One more place we used to call home. But Belotti's a folk hero now for never showing and never caring at all. He's a legend in the union of ghosts who never punch the clock or answer a call. So raise up your glasses to the glory
30 seconds remaining.
It was a male.
I don't want to say the wrong
1
thing.
minute
It's
remaining.
not Scranton. I'm pretty sure I'm going to Scrotum, Pennsylvania.
From big picture Cardinal standpoint, whoa. That's like the biggest turd you can drop
45 seconds
in
remaining.
the middle of Christmas dinner. That's just like, you left the door open, and that side bathroom's like 4 feet from the dinner table, and
30 seconds remaining.
Whoa!
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff Show. Got a lot of reasons to be upset with the College Football Playoff Committee. Well, everyone but EJ, who's in his Sean Taylor jersey this morning, smiling from ear to ear. Let's get to Brett McMurphy, who covers college football as an insider for On3 Sports, and he joins us from the airport because he's always working. Good morning, Brett. How are you?
Good morning, Maggie. Good to talk to you guys again.
Thanks so much for doing this. So if you had one gripe, the biggest gripe with the College Football Playoff Committee, what is it?
Wow, how long is this show? The biggest gripe is that they don't consider like head-to-head until the very end. That's asinine. Like, you know, I could go different ways. This team wasn't rated properly. This team was misjudged, whatever. You can argue both sides of that. That's always going to happen. I've said that for 11 years since they started the committee. It is a beauty pageant. We all three can sit and watch a beauty pageant, a talent show, any kind of competition where you can judge something, and we can all have three different opinions. It doesn't mean we're right. It doesn't mean we're wrong. What is wrong is that the committee purposely would not value Miami and head-to-head and Notre Dame equally or head-to-head until they got to the end where, quote, they were side to side, and then they could compare them that way. I vote in the AP poll every week. I don't sit there and say, well, you know, I've got these teams are 3 spots apart, so I can't judge them. That's asinine. And the other thing is, and Notre Dame's athletic director brought this up, I've said this for several years too, when people freak out about all these ranking shows, they're meaningless. They do not matter until the final one. But the problem is you get built up into thinking teams are safe or teams are in certain spots because of the build-up and all these rankings when it's all a facade. It's all meaningless. They start over from scratch every week. They make that very clear to us. So why do they have all these ranking shows? To break down football film and all this stuff? No, it's because they're under contract with ESPN, and they have to do these shows every week.
Eddie, do you have a problem with Alabama not playing well in the SEC title game and still being in the field, Brett?
Not at all, because it's not. You could have prefaced that with any school. It's not like, oh, I think Alabama needs to be in. I think because, very simply, if you look at it this way, if Texas A&M would have beat Texas, Alabama would not have even played Georgia in the SEC title game. So then Alabama's safely in the playoff field in that scenario. So because Texas A&M lost to Texas, now Alabama plays an additional game, and now they lose to a team that they already beat. So should they tumble in the ratings? I don't think so. I'm sure a lot of people disagree. They didn't look that great, but people have bad game. I mean, again, you can argue both sides of it, but ultimately no, I don't have a problem with that. I think, in the very near future, these conferences are going to look at conference championship games. The Big Ten's trying to push play-in games where instead of having 1 versus 2 in the conference, they'll have 4 versus 5 or 5 versus 6. And the winner of that game will improve their chance to get in the playoff or maybe get an automatic qualifying bid, depending on what this thing looks down the road.
Brett McMurphy is joining us on 3 Sports. We're talking about the college football playoff bracket, which is now set. Yeah, Brett, as far as Alabama, I just have a problem with every other team that lost a conference championship game dropped even a little bit, including Ohio State and definitely BYU, and yet Alabama did not drop at all. And it just feels like college football has a conference championship problem. They have not figured this out in a perfect way of how to use these conference championships as a tool. I know they make a lot of money, so they don't want to turn their backs on them completely, but it just feels like it is not uniform yet. I also want to take the conversation to the 2 group of 5 teams that are in. James Madison and Tulane, Pearl, both in this 12 bracket. Brett, do you give either team a shot to win a game as a huge underdog?
No, I don't. And, but look, this is the playoff that the commissioners, they devised, the automatic bids for the 5 highest ranked conferences. So is it James Madison's fault that the ACC doesn't have a conference champion that ranks above them? No. So everybody can slam James Madison shouldn't be in this playoff. Yeah, if we're going by the best 12 teams, if we're going by the best 16 teams, they're not in the playoff, but they are. But no, I don't give them a chance. This isn't college basketball. You can't have a Cinderella run. It's just a different sport. So enjoy your stay, your trip to Eugene. But I don't see them pulling off the upset.
So, Brett, what impact do you expect some of the controversy to have this year? Are we looking at 16 teams next year, maybe 24? Are they going to? I saw you had a tweet that people are done with committees. What's the ramification going to be?
Yes, all of that, yes. The challenge is they've extended the deadline to determine the format for next year's playoff. They've extended that deadline until the day after this year's national title game, late January. Look, they've been talking about this for several years. They've moved mountains in shorter times than they have to figure out what to do with next year's playoff. I would be surprised if they moved that quickly and came up with something that, everyone agrees on. And when I say everyone, I mean the SEC and Big Ten. So if that doesn't happen, we'll just do the same format next year. But then, after next year, I think certainly we'll see 16 teams. There could be other changes. The way they rate teams or value teams. The biggest hang-up now is the Big Ten wants automatic qualifiers. They want the top 4 teams from the Big Ten to automatically get into the playoff, whether those teams rank nationally 1, 2, 3, 4, or whether those teams rank 20, 30, 40, and 70. So the SEC does not want automatic qualifiers. They want the top 12, top 16 teams, flat out, any metric, and they'll take their chances with that. The other conferences, they're kind of along for the ride, and it depends on the SEC and Big Ten. I would just look, anything can happen. Maybe this is the tipping point because of all the upheaval. We had, Notre Dame opts out because they didn't get in the playoff. I thought that was garbage. You've got Iowa State and Kansas State teams that had coaching changes. They opted out. They were fined $500,000 each by the Big 12. A bigger thing, which probably people don't care about because everything's about the playoff now, is what's the future of the bowl system? All these stupid little bowls that everybody loves to watch, in December, could go away in the very near future if you've got players that simply are not going to play, or in the case of this year, you've got dozens of coaches that have left their teams to go elsewhere, and now you've got these teams that are in bowl games. I talked to somebody at a school who's in a bowl game. They're trying to round up to make sure they have enough coaches to coach whatever players are left, because the staff that went to another job literally is taking everybody with them.
Brett, you can't give us the Pop-Tarts Bowl and then just take it away a couple years later. We've become accustomed to a certain lifestyle here, and I agree with you. I think that
Tell Notre Dame that.
I know. Well, that's the tipping point, right? Notre Dame not going to a bowl because they're not the first people to ever do it, but it's setting off this chain reaction where the bowls were already kind of just supposed to be a little, cherry on top, but now they do seem completely meaningless. And it's also money the athletic departments have to spend where they probably feel like they could be spending that money elsewhere now that you're paying players. Last one from me, and let's just flesh out here what the aftermath is like for Notre Dame, Brett. They're obviously the big headliners after the flip-flop with Miami. Where does Notre Dame go from here, and how much of the sour grapes of them saying no to the bowl, how long of an impact will that have?
Well, I think it'll have an impact. Excuse me. Like anything else, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you support their decision. I'm sure the majority of people do. If you're not a Notre Dame fan, you think it's, why are they doing this? Just because they didn't get in the playoff, they're not playing. BYU, they didn't get in the playoff. They're still playing in a bowl game. You mentioned the Pop-Tarts Bowl. That was the bowl bid that Notre Dame had. They would have played BYU. It would have been the highest-ranked bowl, non-playoff bowl between two teams in the top 13. They decided not to play. You did say, that this has happened before. Actually, Maggie, this has never happened before. A team that was bowl eligible that decided not to play. We've had teams that have decided to play after the fact because they lost coaches, players, COVID, etc. Iowa State, Kansas State, and now Notre Dame are the first teams to ever turn down a bid. It's like getting a bid to the NCAA tournament and then saying, we're not going to play in it. What happens in the future? I don't know. It's the Big 12 fined both Iowa State and Kansas State. I don't think the ACC will fine Notre Dame because they're in a predicament with Notre Dame. They let them enjoy all the benefits of being a conference member. They get the ACC bowl pool. They're a conference member in basketball and other sports, but they're not a full member. So I don't think they're going to fine them or do anything like that because then the worst thing is Notre Dame says, okay, fine, then we're going to stop playing ACC teams in football. We'll go do our own thing or perhaps go to the Big Ten. But I think there will be some real changes. And then I think because the players are getting paid now, I think the bowls and the schools will have simply contracts that designate what happens if you get a bowl bid and you don't participate in a bowl. Is there a financial penalty? So teams or players or coaches can't just simply opt out and not doing it. The challenge for all this is it takes a long time to get all this stuff done. And that means it's probably a few years away.
Real quick, Brett, do you think there's any teeth to Steve Sarkisian's threat to cancel Ohio State or maybe even Notre Dame the following 2 years, these early season tough matchups?
If they want to pay $1 million buyout, sure. I think it's sour. I think it's sour grapes. I think it's the heat of the moment. I guess similar to Notre Dame pulling out is the heat of the moment where Sarkisian felt like they didn't get fairly evaluated because they lost that game. If they would have played, Akron and they were 10-2, they would have got in. I don't think that'll happen. Again, I think part of that will contribute to that is what's the future of the playoff? What's the playoff look like? How are teams rewarded? Is it simply based on your conference finish? If it is, then you can go 0-3, 0-4 in conference play, and you can still finish in the top 3 or 4 in your conference. You're in the playoff. But if it's the overall record, I understand his viewpoint, but also I would say don't lose to Florida and you're in the playoff. You're not in the playoff because you lost to Ohio State. You're not in the playoff because you lost to Florida.
Florida almost beat Georgia, too, though.
Almost doesn't count.
I'm just saying, like, Florida is, I think they're misperceived a little bit. I mean, how many healthy Lagway games did you actually get?
That's true, but still, come on. It's a Florida team that, they had their moments, but they also lost by 31 to Kentucky. They lost to Miami. They got thumped by Miami. They lost to LSU. They lost to USF. It'd be quicker to name the teams they actually beat, which is only 4.
Brett, we'll leave it right there. You're talking to a big Texas fan sitting next to me. Thank you so much for doing this. Love reading you on 3 and safe travels this morning. Thanks for being flexible.
Enjoy the Citrus Bowl in Disney World.
Oh, have fun. Man, take us with you. Yeah, I guess, what I was thinking of with a team that says no to a bowl game, it was the non-bowl eligible teams. Other 5-win teams have said no before this, but this was the first time that bowl eligible teams have said no to bowl games. Pearl, it's over.
I thought Notre Dame said no way back in the day. Am I imagining that, or they thought about saying no?
Maybe they ultimately changed their mind. I know we've seen some teams no-show bowl games, like Florida State a couple of years ago when they got they got snubbed out of the 4-team college football playoff and had to play Georgia. They might as well have not shown up to that bowl game. I think they lost like 56-10 or something. But here's the other part about the bowl games. Brett was saying you could write it into the contracts for the NIL contracts, like you have to play in a bowl game to get your money. Mm-hmm. But so many guys opt out of bowl games just for the NFL draft purposes. Do you think you could get that language into a contract? I don't know.
I already talked about the Citrus Bowl. That's where my Longhorns are going, which I think has ramifications because they're actually going to that game and Arch is playing. That means Sark's staying and Arch is staying. So whatever happened to all that?
I think Marcus Freeman is now maybe the name to watch. Now, I don't know if he'd ever leave Notre Dame. Well, not ever. I mean, he's a young guy. But they're not playing in the bowl game. There were rumors about Freeman and the Giants the New York Giants has always kind of been floating around. Now you just got snubbed by the committee.
I feel like he's got a pretty good quarterback to leave. I would not leave that guy. CJ Garth looks...
Well, you could have Jackson Dart in the pros.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Notre Dame... Did they have the number 1 recruiting class too again or something?
No, USC did.
Or did Notre Dame have a killer recruiting class again? They did very well. He's really done a nice job at Notre Dame. He's just got to get the schedule worked out.
Let's get to Bogusch, who's got the latest headlines. What's up, dude?
Guys, these headlines sponsored by Progressive Insurance. The annual Progressive Keys to Progress program provides vehicles to deserving veterans, helping our heroes drive their lives forward. Learn more at keystoprogress.com. For the first time this season, the Houston Texans in a playoff spot.
Handoff, Dare trying to dance between the tackles, taking it across the goal line. Touchdown, Houston, 5-yard run. Dare Ogunbowale.
Mark Vandermeer on Texans radio. Dare Ogunbowale with the tie-breaking points mid-fourth quarter after Houston saw a 10-0 halftime lead disappear at Arrowhead on Sunday Night Football. The Texans winning 20-10, extending their win streak to 5. DeMeco Ryans' defense picked off Patrick Mahomes 3 times and stopped his offense twice on 4th down in the fourth quarter.
This is a great offense. They've done a great job for a long time, but it was all about the situational football. Plays we made on 3rd down, getting stops, 4th down, being able to get stops there to put us in range to score some points.
And now they sit in the last wild card spot this morning, winning a tie with the Colts, who lost in Jacksonville in more ways than one yesterday afternoon. Daniel Jones, a suspected torn Achilles in a 36-19 final. Here's head coach Shane Steichen.
Anytime you lose a guy that puts in so much work and so much effort and is always there for his team and is showing up with a fibula injury and goes out there and freaking plays, just so much respect for him. Just so much respect.
The Jaguars, meanwhile, on a 4-game win streak to lead the AFC South by 1 game. The NFC South is its normal self, getting ready to spit out a mediocre team into the postseason. The Bucs falling into a tie for first with the Idle Panthers by losing for the 4th time in 5 games, this time 24-20 at home to the Saints.
What the is
going on, Baker Mayfield?
Just too many mistakes. Conditions aren't an excuse because they had to play them too. So none of that matters. Just a matter of making the plays, and plays that guys have made a bunch of times. Just got to execute.
Yeah, the game was played like the Jaguar game in bad rain and wind and whatever, but you can't lose at home to the Saints.
Well, should we be talking about realignment for the NFL too? And because are we going to have another 8-9 champion out of the NFC South? This happens way too often.
Yes, whenever we get my wish that you can get in by winning a division with a bad record, but don't get to host a playoff game, that's got to be the NFC South clause.
I mean, this was a devastating win for New Orleans, unless they're going with Tyler Shuck.
I think they might,
which is possible.
Yeah.
But now you're at 3 wins. You're sitting at 5th in the draft.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be more committed to the tank. Meanwhile, your Giants, Bogusch, because of all this winning that Tennessee and New Orleans did, you guys are now in the catbird seat.
I thought the Raiders were. I thought the Raiders.
Tankathon is showing me you guys are
you guys are number 1.
Oh, I read this morning. I thought on the Athletic they said the Raiders had the number 1 pick now, but I'll take it. Let's go.
It looks like strength of schedule is what is helping you.
Okay.
Is it
strength
a
of
tank year,
schedule?
though? Is it a tank year?
It's always a tank year, baby.
I don't know. I don't even know if a QB goes
It's
one.
a little too true.
Somebody's going to go one. So either way, they get the best player in the draft, or they can trade back for somebody who falls in love with Mendoza or somebody. Let's go.
I don't know. It's not a normal. I don't think it's a normal year.
Yeah, so you'd rather be 8? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Well, I mean, I just think that it's not even really worth tank. It's not going to make a big difference. I don't know if you're going to get a lot of value. It's not normal. Like next year, you will get 4 first-round picks for that pick.
I just
it's a little
asked
different.
EJ, who is the number 1 pick in the NFL draft? Is this even a good quote draft this year?
There's flat out no.
But hold on, there's always demand for quarterbacks.
I don't know. Kenny Pickett was the first quarterback at 21 one year.
If cherry picking 1 year, if Mendoza goes on a run in the college football playoff, it's possible that he turns into a valuable commodity.
Well, the problem with this draft too for the Giants is that the best players are all like edge rushers. So it's like, oh, do you want Ruben Bain? That doesn't help. You want Arvell Reese? That doesn't help.
Yeah, and I don't think they can take Carnell Tate after taking Malik Neighbors with the rest of that roster, so he's off the table too.
Yeah, I mean, you probably could take him, but like
offensive line,
taking receiver 1, this doesn't feel like an offensive line number 1 draft.
But if you trade back even 2 spots, you could still get the best offensive lineman.
McShay and all those guys are saying it's a weak draft for what it's worth.
That's fine.
It's early. I mean, it is early.
That won't prevent the Raiders from doing something stupid.
Right. And the Giants would pick the year to finally get this right and get the number 1 pick when there's not a knockout clear guy when they could have had
saying.
I get it, but that does not mean they should win out in December.
Yeah.
They still need to have the best possible pick.
Can I just ask you an honest question about the Giants and where they are right now? Say 2 years ago you had gotten the number 1 pick and not won that meaningless game against the Colts or whatever it was, the Tommy DeVito game. Do you think Caleb Williams is having a great season in New York?
I have no idea.
Yes.
I don't know.
Or they would have picked the wrong guy. You know, if it was C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young like that, like they would have picked the wrong person. So they would have messed it up. But I would have liked them to have the ability to mess it up, as opposed to having Tommy DeVito win a game.
No, I hear you. Yeah. But you had Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Drake May might be the best player. Might be the best quarterback from the class.
And they would have picked J.J. McCarthy.
They love
They did
love
take Jackson
J.J.
and Dar.
McCarthy.
You got to be fair to that. They're picking good guys. The Giants' issues are much deeper than draft picks.
One thing about Mendoza, by the way.
It's a lot of issues. It's also draft picks.
We're talking about Fernando Mendoza might be the number 1 pick. And I like him a lot, but if he goes to the Raiders or the Browns, like that's a tough spot for a quarterback anyway. Kind of to your point, Maggie, if Caleb Williams is a Giant. So I just don't think there's going to be a lot of excitement at this top of this draft. Like, I feel like Mendoza going to the Raiders, is anybody going to be into that team next year? That feels like a bad spot to be.
I've also never seen a player less represent a team's identity than Fernando Mendoza going to the Raiders.
Yes.
Seriously?
Yeah,
that
that's
guy?
what I mean.
Doesn't have enough of an edge.
It doesn't feel right.
It'd be like Steve Buscemi in whatchamacallit, your favorite movie, 21 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street, right?
22 Jump.
I mean, Mr. Let's Flip and Go.
Yeah, let's flip and go.
Let's Flip and Go is going to the Raiders, the Renegades of the NFL.
Derek Carr wasn't so well.
Yeah, Carr, you're right.
He had a little bit of an
No,
edge.
you're absolutely right. Carr was.
He was kind of like a
closer to
mild
Fernando
mannered
Mendoza.
guy.
Yeah, and that didn't work.
Well, he was their quarterback for a decade.
Well,
they have nothing to show for it.
Here's the thing, but they have no receiver, so you're automatically putting a guy like Fernando Mendoza in an impossible situation. You might not even have a coach yet. So anyway, the top of this draft is going to be messy. I just think that everyone's gonna be like, wait, what the heck do we do here? Sorry, Bogues.
Yeah, no, great to check in with you. Happy you're here today.
Thank you. That's where we have to leave it, folks. Thanks so much. Coming up next, we have still not dived fully into the Steelers' win over the Ravens yesterday. We have a lot more to unpack with Caleb Williams and that Bears loss to the Packers. So much to do. It's the Maggie and Perloff Show. And, of course, your phone calls, 888-710-4ISN. Giddy up.
Out in Nevada where the high Sierra glows, lives Bob Custer in Nevada, and everybody knows. He wakes up calling spreads before the sunrise hits. Boise State getting 8.5, he loves those underdog bits. Moneyline 280 totals 51 and a half. Bob Custer in Nevada sips his coffee with a gambler's laugh. He is Bob Custer in Nevada, riding plays through the dawn. Back in the Chargers even when Justin's left hand is gone. Dropping Maggie and Perloff, picks only sharp folks get. If a total keeps falling, Bob Custer in Nevada will chase that bet. From old Motor Speedway Thunder to the mountains above, he is Bob Custer in Nevada, sending pics with love. Pete Carroll's homeboys cashing tickets, Bob saw it from the start. Army-Navy totals dropping low, Bob has that under in his heart. He reminds the chat that Army throws the ball about 8 times a game. And when a line hits 27 and a half, he still plays it just the same. Sweating out a late field goal, laughing at the wild ride. Bob Custer in Nevada takes the chaos in stride. He is Bob Custer in Nevada, greeting Good Shepherd before dawn. Watching Kelsey's drop 2 straight and Reed call something wrong. Saying these are not the cheats of old, the spark is nearly gone. But Bob Custer in Nevada just keeps rolling on. From the high Sierra sunrise to the chat room frontier, he is Bob Custer in Nevada, bringing morning cheer. Lane Kiffin looks immature, Bob shrugs and tips his hat. Says the media loves the guy no matter how the games fall flat. 4th and 1 on your own 30 makes Bob shake his head. He says even Pop Warner coaches would punt that ball instead. And meanwhile back at the studio, Belotti's missing again. Bob Custer in Nevada jokes he has not shown up since way back when. They say his chair's still warm where he once used to sit. Bob says if there were odds on Belotti arriving, he'd hammer the under by a bit. He is Bob Custer in Nevada, where the cool winds hum. Talking football, bad coaching, and where smart bets come from. Good morning from the high Sierra is how he starts each day. Bob Custer in Nevada, living life the Bob way. So here's the Bob in the early glow, dropping lines Maggie and Perloff already know. From the high Sierra ridges to the YouTube chat stream, Bob Custer in Nevada rides with the Maggie and Perloff dream.
Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff reacting to a whole lot of craziness From the weekend, college football playoff bracket is set. A lot of people not happy that Notre Dame got oopsie-dooped. They were ranked ahead of Miami for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then at the 11th hour, all of a sudden the committee flipped them because BYU had the audacity to lose badly to Texas Tech for the second time, which dropped them in the rankings, putting Notre Dame and Miami back-to-back with each other. And finally, the committee said, well, now we have to recognize head-to-head, which Miami beat Notre Dame in the first game of the season earlier this year. Meanwhile, BYU dropped because they lost their conference championship game. Ohio State dropped because they lost their conference championship game. UVA dropped because they lost their conference championship game. Alabama stays exactly where they are despite getting beaten badly by Georgia.
Well, isn't it a little bit of a different dynamic, though? Because Ohio State dropped, but that's because they elevated the conference champion. It's a little bit of it feels like a bit of a different dynamic. And UVA did not win their conference title. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. By the way, and BYU does not really deserve to be here. Can we just say that? I know they beat Utah and Arizona State, but do they really? If BYU got in, I think those other SEC teams that didn't get in would be like, we would kill this team. What are we doing here?
Okay, but here's the thing.
Yeah.
Again, they would have not gotten in unless they won their conference, but they were ranked. Like, they were close. They were close in the final
I thought that
rankings.
ranking was silly that whole time. I thought they were ranked too high in the week-to-week show personally. Because I just didn't think they were as good a team as those other teams.
I guess there's also this idea that, and this is why the conference championship games, it's like, what are you doing? Are you getting penalized for losing or are you not? Like, it's not uniform at all, Pearl, because like this is now they not only have they become, it feels like irrelevant, but it's screwing other teams over. Like, it's not just irrelevant, it's also can be like dangerous. I don't know.
Yeah, but there are a lot of inconsistencies. Not just that. The whole way the head-to-head was inconsistent throughout the ratings. That's just one of many inconsistent points to me.
No doubt. George is in LA. Big weekend for George. Got Texas Tech is got the bye. They'll face the winner of Oregon and James Madison. And George, your Rams are on fire again.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, folks. First with Texas Tech real quick. Oregon's going to get a reality check when they get to Lubbock. I don't think they've seen a defensive line quite like this one. And with the Rams, Stafford, what a redemption. They did something yesterday that ain't been done in 24 years. The greatest show on turf did it with Warner. It was 3 touchdown passes and 3 rushing touchdowns for 500 yards. They definitely put a whipping on Arizona. Jimmy G was in the game in the fourth quarter, the entire fourth quarter, because the Rams just finally took the foot off the gas.
George, thank you. We just your phone just cut out there a little bit, but congrats. The Rams now back on top as the team to beat in the NFC, Pearl. I mean, I don't think this game was necessarily an indication. The Packers look really good, and we're going to watch your Philadelphia Eagles tonight against the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford made some beautiful throws, which was fun to watch. I love that George went to Texas Tech, right? Played there. I agree. That defensive line, I know they're not going to, some of those guys are not going to last to where my Philadelphia Eagles draft, but I got to tell you right now, David Bailey, sign me up for him right now. That dude looks ready to go NFL-wise. I don't know about their offense at all. It feels like that could come and go.
Well, very much like the Eagles.
Yeah. But Texas Tech, very, very, very talented team. I would argue definitely more NFL talented than, say, Oregon, which is unusual because Oregon usually is loaded with NFL talent.
No doubt. Just one small thing. I know George is kind of being like, hey, when you come to Lubbock, it's going to be a different story. That game's actually going to be at the Orange Bowl, so figure that out. But Oregon gets a home game against James Madison, which, to me, Oregon being the 5 seed, again, I've mentioned it a few times this morning. I don't see how. Like, I don't see how they could warrant being the 5th-ranked team in the country, and now they get to be in a side of the bracket where they would avoid both Ohio State and Georgia.
I mean, there's a lot of mid between 5 and 10. I mean, you got Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, you have no idea. Oklahoma, Alabama, and then Miami, I'm excited about.
What's that with Alabama?
Yeah, but I like Miami. Alabama's been very disappointing, I think. They did not look up for the task at all in the SEC title game. It is funny. And Ole Miss would be a team if Lane was still there that we'd be really excited about, but nobody's excited about them. It just feels like the bracket fell in a way. It almost landed with a dud. I mean, that doesn't make sense. But it generally, like, these are not going to be a lot of exciting matchups to me. It feels some bad luck on the way the bracket. Honestly, the best way that this could have all ended up was if Miami and Notre Dame were both in it, because those are two exciting teams.
Yeah, no doubt. And I'm still stunned the committee actually left Notre Dame out, you know. And
yeah,
I'm not saying the whole world's a conspiracy and it's all about brand, but a lot.
And it's a good team too. I mean, they're number one in the ESPN football power. Not number one, but they're very high in the ESPN football power index. Way higher than most of the teams that are in the field. They've been killing teams, and they have the best running back in the country, and Jeremiah Love is fantastic. And a good quarterback. I mean, they could be very good. If they were in that tournament, God, they could win the whole thing.
All right, we will get to all the latest NFL topics as well. 888-710-4ISN. If you want to talk about college football or pro, we got it all for you. We'll do the M&P 500 in the next hour as well. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend. Coming up, we will recap every NFL game from Sunday in 60 seconds or less. M&P.
You're in a 5-minute break.
that work, avoiding space. Oh, Maggie's riding slow, but what's the bigger crime? People on, he's out of work for the 100th time. He says he's with Amy, but we don't see his face. He's MIA, stuck in that work, avoiding space. The GPS says charging stations far, but Maggie's more worried about Pete and where you are. He claims he's in the studio mixing some sound, but no one's seen Pete, he ain't nowhere to be found. Oh, Maggie's riding slow, but what's the bigger crime? People stuck in that work, avoiding space. Maybe he's got a gig, but it's all a disguise. Or he's just napping while the radio dies. Maggie's got no battery, but Pete's got none. In the world of excuses, Pete Pilotti's number one. Oh, Maggie's riding solo, but what's the bigger crime? Pete Pilotti's out of work for the 100th time. He said...
"45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Just crazy. Carnage, chaos. Am I talking about college football, the NFL? Yes. Talking about both. College football playoff rankings came out, bro, and everyone was up in arms for a couple reasons. Number one, the committee, where it's really like a train wreck kind of every week because of how the committee is forced to defend these decisions that they make that kind of make no sense. Well, then at the last 11th hour, they completely turn everything on their heads, and it makes everything even more awkward. And for the Notre Dame fans out there, I'm not generally on your side usually, but I feel for them today because you've been led to believe that you were going to be ranked above Miami consistently, and because BYU lost their conference championship game to Texas Tech, something that has nothing to do with either team, they drop, which means now Notre Dame and Miami are right next to each other in the rankings, and now they finally recognize head-to-head between Notre Dame and Miami, something that happened Labor Day weekend, but does not become a factor until the first week of December. It doesn't make any sense, and I get why the Notre Dame fans are upset.
Yeah, I get it too. How about Andrew Perloff being upset? I really, really enjoy watching Jeremiah Love, their running back. Now I have to wait till the NFL. I think he's going to be a superstar. I mean, he's half Bijan Robinson, half Saquon Barkley, half Reggie Bush. Let's go. It's kind of stinks that he can't be in the field. Can I ask you a question? Do you think Notre Dame would have had a decent chance to win the whole thing if they were in it?
Yeah, they went to the championship game last year.
Yeah,
with a better quarterback this year. Not that Riley Leonard was very different. And by the way, we saw Riley Leonard this week when Daniel Jones for the Colts went down with an Achilles tear. He's out for the season now. Riley Leonard is the backup.
Yeah, isn't it weird that there's a team that's not going to be in it, and there's at least 6 teams that nobody thinks is going to win that are actually in the field? Obviously, the 2 group of 5 teams, no one thinks they're going to win. But I don't think a lot of people think, honestly, I don't think a lot of people think Ole Miss without their coach. I don't think a lot of people are buying into Alabama right now. I think there are a lot of teams that are kind of coming into this playoff on a downswing. It's just a bizarre field.
Yeah, and then there's Indiana, who's making history at every turn. They're now the number 1 seed, and so they get the bye. So here are your first round matchups. It's going to be Oregon hosting James Madison. It's going to be Oklahoma hosting Alabama. Ole Miss hosts Tulane. Texas A&M is going to host Miami. Those games do happen on college campuses. It's the round after that where they go to the neutral sites and the bowl games. And obviously, these are a couple rematches here. We've already seen Alabama lose to Oklahoma. We've already seen Tulane lose to Ole Miss. So, maybe Miami, Texas A&M gives us a good game. We'll see about that. Anyway,
that should be great.
Lots of beef that we have with the committee, and you're welcome to weigh in at 888-710-4ISN. It feels like nobody's happy here, except for EJ. EJ's smiling. You finally got it, man.
Yeah, baby.
Last second, you've been ranting and raving and screaming at the committee, and they finally heard you.
Listen, bullying works, and sometimes this is what you have to do. In Miami, we are not shy at all about being bullies. So,
Do you think you think you have a shot?
Yeah. I think that Texas A&M, I think this is the toughest end of the bracket for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Miami's ability to get after the passer and their ability to block makes them a very dangerous team. Now, what Carson Beck are you getting? Good luck answering that question.
What Marcel Reed are you getting?
Yeah, that's a good another one too, right? I mean, that's going to be a very interesting game. But if Carson Beck plays the way he had the last 4 weeks and Miami's trenches play the way they normally play, Miami's a very dangerous team.
Yeah, this is a tough side of the bracket. Not that the other side isn't tough, but you do have Georgia and Ohio State in this side of the bracket, as opposed to Texas Tech, who's excellent but has not been in a game this big that we've seen, and Indiana, who, listen, Indiana's legit, but again, never been close. Well, Indiana made the bracket last year, but has not been close to being having these many expectations on them, obviously.
That's why, by the way, that I know this is old news, but that's why that whole 6'7" idiotic joke that Yurchek made a couple weeks ago actually is quite ridiculous.
Oh, stupid.
Because if I'm Texas A&M, I'm looking at this 6'7". That means a lot to me, damn it, because I could have been playing,
James
Tulane
Madison.
or James Madison.
Yeah.
But now I'm playing Miami. I'm playing a team that has maybe 3 guys who are going to be in the first round and both the offensive and defensive line. The difference with that in playing Tulane, who got beat by Ole Miss by damn near 30 points earlier in the season. This committee, I feel bad for Notre Dame. I know we've been dancing on their grave, but I do feel bad because this committee and their process and how not seriously they took it, I think needs to be addressed and needs to be changed dramatically.
Well, and I've been saying it this morning. I mean, Oregon having the 5 seed and going up against James Madison. Seriously, even for the diehard Ducks fans, and I know we're on in Oregon, and I don't love to do this to an audience that's been very loyal to us, but come on, guys. Last year, you guys were number 1 seed. Totally get that. Who are the great wins that Oregon's had this year? USC? Notre Dame beat USC. Beating Penn State in double overtime. Now, granted, Penn State was still a thing then, but they went into free fall after that.
And it seemed like they didn't apply those rules to other teams because there are other teams that beat teams that were ranked earlier in the season, and they said, well, that team fell off, so it didn't matter. So beating Florida State didn't matter for Miami as much. Some of these other teams that had ranked numbers next to them early in the season that were playing well, that they're like, well, that team lost, so it didn't matter. But for some reason, Oregon beating Penn State, Penn State was number 2, so therefore we got to give you guys a lot of props. And Penn State fell apart shortly after that.
Penn State might not even been together for real. That game.
Right.
Yeah, so they beat who? Iowa? They lost to Indiana at home by 10. I don't see it with Oregon. It's not that they're not a good team. This is setting up pretty nicely for them, as good as it could possibly set up. You're the 5th seed. You get to play the 12th seed. I don't get it. 888-710-4ISN. So that's a little on the college football side. Let's get to the NFL in 60.
Maggie and Perloff take you around the league, recapping this weekend's football action. Time for NFL in 60.
All right, EJ gives us a game. We tell you about it in 60 seconds or less. Go ahead, EJ.
All right, so let's get to this NFL action. It was a busy weekend. Let's start with, let's go Seahawks Falcons.
Gotcha.
37-9. Jackson Smith and Jigba. Not 100 yards, but 2 more touchdowns.
And Rashid Shaheed with a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. That was a 17-point third quarter. This one was a laugher. And Pearl, Nick Emanwari, let's need to say his name correctly. Nick Emanwari, the rookie. Huge plays on defense for the Seahawks. Huge plays on special teams. Could win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
You saw the problems with the Seahawks, though. Sam Darnold was getting destroyed in the first half. I mean, Atlanta was getting after it. I had read before that this is a bad matchup for Darnold. They better hope that line holds up. He almost had a safety that he just snuck out of. So that game really opened up on the kickoff because coming into that, Seahawks looked bad in the first half.
Meanwhile, Falcons also eliminated from the playoffs with that loss. And then we'll see what's up with Raheem Morris and the coaching staff.
I thought we were watching a repeat of the 2023 AFC divisional round when a snowy Buffalo Bills team looked a little slow to start, but a big turnaround in the fourth quarter and some Josh Allen heroics lead the Bills to a 39-34 win over the Bengals.
I said first halves of a Bills game should come with a warning from the Surgeon General, like a pack of cigarettes. It's just bad for your health. You shouldn't watch it, especially if you have any rooting interest on the Bills side of things. The first halves are just awful. Meanwhile, but the Bills took advantage of 2 huge Joe Burrow mistakes. 2 interceptions, back-to-back throws. Now, one got tipped, Pearl. The other one was definitely his fault. I don't think we'll ever see that again for as talented as a quarterback as Joe Burrow is. They had this game. They had it until those mistakes and the Bills capitalized and I think effectively ended any threat of the Bengals.
Yeah, kind of a shame because the Bengals would have been in the mix in the AFC North. They could have definitely taken down Baltimore and Pittsburgh. I said it, and come playoff time, if you don't have a spy on Josh Allen, and I don't know how, you need a big spy because I don't think a normal guy could take him down. It was so obvious that he was running on
which one?
The 3rd and 15 at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah, ice the game, man.
It was
Josh is
so
the best.
obvious. He had zero prayer of completing a pass out, and the Bengals just all ran straight past him. It was insane. And the announcers should see that, of course, Josh Allen's going to run in that spot. But playoffs teams play much differently against running quarterbacks. We know that. I think it's one of the reasons running quarterbacks struggle, because if you have time to prepare and it's a must-win, you invent a spy. You could see the Texans watching Mahomes last night. Anyway, that was a huge strategical error by the Bengals.
364 passing yards was not enough for the Browns as they lose to the Titans 31-29. A lot of questions about Kevin Stefanski's choice on a key 2-point conversion.
Yeah, listen, let's not overrate that 2-point conversion. The Titans had this game won and sort of went into prevent defense and let the Browns get back into it. I guess this is for draft position, but the Browns still have one more win than the Titans. It's going to be hard for them to get up to number 1, and I don't know what they're going to do at number 1. Shedeur played well. I think that was my takeaway. Him and Harold Fannin have this great chemistry. If I'm covering the Browns, just cover Harold Fannin. It's the only guy he likes to throw to, the rookie tight end. But I don't care about the Titans winning. I care about Shedeur looking good, which is really promising. Although this much, much harder assignment coming up next week. I think he's have the hold on one sec. He has coming up at the Bears. I think they were going to see a much more modest Shedeur.
Speaking of the assignment, Kevin Stefanski, hats off to you, man. You knew you had to lose this game, and you did whatever you needed to lose it. That 2-point conversion play was just ridiculous, and all the things they've been doing in the red zone seem a little dicey. But here's one for all the Shedeur backers. Shedeur Sanders became the second rookie quarterback in NFL history with 350 passing yards and 3 or more passing touchdowns and 1 rushing score in a single game, joining Joe Burrow from his rookie year. And people said he couldn't play in the NFL.
By the way, you're saying they tagged on purpose. They were getting killed in that game, and then shouldn't have even been there. They want Deshaun Watson to be their quarterback next year. There's no tank on purpose.
I don't think they want Deshaun.
I think you're wrong about that.
They have him. They're going to roll with him.
I think they would be excited if that investment finally paid off. I don't even think they take a quarterback. I'll just say that right now.
All right, so add some more guys to the mass unit for the Washington Commanders. They lose 31-0 to Minnesota, but some tough injuries. Jaden Daniels left this game after re-injuring his elbow, and Zach Ertz left the game with a gruesome knee injury.
That stunk.
And that his career might be over. That was sad to see him crying as he's getting carted away. Jaden Daniels, you mentioned, left the game with the shoulder. Definitely questions about whether or not they brought him back too soon. But I think this is a good sign for Minnesota fans. You can breathe a little sigh of relief because J.J. McCarthy came back from concussion and did not look like a complete zero. In fact, looked pretty good and went on a 19-play, 98-yard drive, which took over 12 minutes off the clock. It's good to see from J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah, I think coming into this game, I had penciled in the Vikings as losses for the rest of the season. So now Dallas has a harder game next week because McCarthy looked good. Then Detroit and Green Bay to finish the season. Can Vikings play spoiler? I'm still a little dubious because I think Washington has given up on the season defensively. So I don't know if that translates.
All right, let's head to MetLife Stadium where the Dolphins really had no worries in this one. They beat the Jets 34-10. Devon Achane did lose the first half with an injury, but they're hopeful that he won't be out too long.
Yeah, so I am just dying with laughter at the fact that the Dolphins are not only going to be in the hunt graphic, but Mike McDaniel might be back now. This is a great story. I'm all about it. I don't know if they're any good whatsoever, but they look pretty good, man, against the Jets. Like, they can run the ball. If they could just get a couple touchdowns from my guy Darren Waller in the end zone. Waddle looks good. I think this is like one of these sneaky, weird, surprising stories of the year in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they were left for dead. They were the laughing stock of the league, and now they've won 4 straight, and they've won 6 of their last 7. They started the season 1-6. I mean, it was as bad as could possibly be.
They haven't really beaten good teams.
Well, that's fine,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
and this is the interesting part. So Tua in cold weather, right? Yesterday, brick in New York, right, in this area. Only attempted 21 passes in this game.
And they're a run team.
They're a run team, and they had 4 runs of 20-plus more yards. 4 runs of 20 or more yards in the first 2 drives alone. EJ, what happened to your defense? Meanwhile, Brady Cook for the Jets. The Jets did not get it. Well, after Tyrod Taylor exited, no first downs for the Jets until 2 minutes left to go in the first half.
Yeah.
No first downs.
Yeah, it was some gross football.
By the way, Tua hasn't hit 200 yards in 4 straight games.
And they've won them all.
They've won them all. It's unbelievable. Like, they've transformed, which I think was really helped them, obviously.
Sure, you all had this on your bingo card. The Saints go into Tampa Bay and steal one. Saints 24, Bucks 20.
Terrible weather in this game, awful weather game, but this is a tie game with 9 minutes left to go, and the Bucks are at home, and Tyler Shuck outdueled Baker Mayfield, who was a MVP candidate earlier in this season. Even when Bucky Irving goes out of the game, Devin Neal, Devon Vele, these are some interesting pieces here that they've got for the Saints, but obviously Shuck is the story here, Pearl. He got out of a sack. I don't know how. Escaped a sack when 3 guys were on him from the Bucks and ran for a 13-yard touchdown.
Yeah, I mean, Shuck is the NFL cognizant. He's darling right now. Our buddy Quincy Avery, famed quarterback coach, has been saying, watch out for Tyler Shuck. So it feels like the Saints might have found a quarterback. The thing is, he's nearing retirement because he's so old. He's a 26-year-old rookie. But it is really interesting to watch him develop. That could give them a lot of leeway coming to the draft where they don't necessarily have to draft a quarterback.
Yeah, I think they will. Sorry, I said Bucky Irving. Yeah. I meant Alvin Kamara. Sorry.
Yes, more bad weather in Florida and bad news for the Colts. They lose to the Jaguars in Jacksonville, 19-36. They also lose Daniel Jones for the season, who went out with a torn Achilles.
That was so sad because you saw him go down, and then the first thing I think the announcer said, it's not the leg where he had the broken fibula. So that immediately, and he reached for his calf. You could tell what was going on. It is, I feel so bad for Colts fans because it was an all-in year. They traded for Sauce Gardner. Now he's hurt. They don't have first-round picks. It could not possibly go worse. I don't think they make the playoffs. It is a total disaster. And I'm already starting to think, oh, wow, is Chris Ballard going to be safe there, the GM?
Yeah, man. The one thing about the Sauce Gardner trade, okay, I know that obviously it's not great for this year because the season's now falling apart, but he is a very young corner that if you think he could be a centerpiece, let's not throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, whatever that saying is. Like, he could be a focal point and a staple of your team for years to come.
But if you have no quarterback next year.
But if you have no quarterback, then you really need a first-round draft pick. Now the Colts could be asked again to go with another retread, which has just been or maybe Anthony Richardson finally figures it out. I have no idea. Meanwhile, probably looks like, Houston's going to win this division?
Oh, no, Jacksonville, baby.
Right, well, Jacksonville's won 4 straight and 5 of the last 6, but Houston looks...
I'll do a show bet on that one.
Houston's defense is so good.
Well, Jacksonville, though.
Jacksonville's defense is not bad either.
Yeah, Jacksonville's defense is salty. Trevor Lawrence uncorked some missiles yesterday. Jacksonville, listen to this schedule. New York next week.
Which one?
The Jets.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, good question. At Denver, that's a tough game. But then they go at Indianapolis, who seems like they're crumbling, and then Tennessee. So Jacksonville can get 3 or 4 against really bad teams. That's why I give Jacksonville a great chance to win this division. Both teams are going to be similar spots in the playoff field. I don't think it matters. I agree with you. Houston's more dangerous, but Jacksonville could win this division.
Interesting note. Ray, never heard the term throw out the baby out the bathwater.
Never heard that one?
Never heard that one before.
Yeah, it's a weird image.
I'm adding it to the list, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go to Baltimore.
Have you ever heard of this? Sorry, EJ. Have you ever heard, don't cut off your nose to spite your face?
Absolutely.
Okay. Same kind of thing.
All right, so let's go to Baltimore, where I think no babies or noses are safe here. Steelers beat the Ravens 27-22. Controversy, though, definitely a big part of this one. A Isaiah Likely touchdown was overturned on a supposed drop.
I have no idea how this was a drop. I don't know what you have to do to score a touchdown in the NFL these days. Obviously, a lot more than whatever Isaiah likely did. To me, this is an awesome game if you're a Steelers supporter, but also kind of infuriating, Pearl. It's awesome because Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf looked every bit the part. They were 7 targets for DK Metcalf, over 100 yards receiving. But it's a little frustrating because, obviously you can do this. I know the Ravens' defense is not fantastic, but clearly you could have a more vertical passing game. You're choosing not to. And so in some ways it's infuriating. Steelers still in the driver's seat for the AFC North title.
Yeah, I mean, you can't read too much into any kind of Steelers-Ravens game. They follow their own logic altogether. And it felt like the Ravens in the second half were the team. It felt like they had momentum. They were going to win the game. Mm-hmm. They came up short. I think that the likely play was a big part of it. Because Rodgers had success and then it kind of tailed off. They should have fed Derrick Henry the ball more. Again, I actually would. So the Ravens are 6-7. The Steelers are 7-6. I think this is far from done. I know the percentage is ESPN had a 34% for the Ravens, and you said 40% on another metric. I think this is far from done because I've seen Pittsburgh beat Baltimore, then turn around and lose to Cleveland. You do not know what this Pittsburgh team is. That's all I'm saying. We can revisit it in a month, but I do not trust them.
Let's get to the 4 o'clock window where the Broncos remain top dog in the AFC West, taking care of the Raiders 24-17 on the road.
Hey, this game was once again way closer than it should have been. What is going on? It was a non-game, apparently, and my timeline was flooded with this. It was a somewhat controversial ending as far as the spread. It was 8.5, and the Raiders scored late. I really have much to say, except the Broncos, once again, have a knack of making it a little closer than they should. Because I watched the first half. I watched a lot of the first half of this game. Then I switched over to a lot of Bears-Packers. And I thought, oh, my God, Denver's finally going to get a blowout. And it didn't happen.
Yeah, so you said the end is controversial. Dave Portnoy is calling for everyone to be in prison. Obviously, he must have lost a significant amount of money on this game or knows people who did. Pearl, it was a very odd ending to the game.
Yeah.
It's weird when a team is down 10 and there's 4 seconds left on the clock. They get a delay of game penalty that stops the clock as the Raiders are driving with Kenny Pickett in the game. And you're down 10 and you decide to kick a field goal. Why? You have 4 seconds.
Go for the touchdown?
That's it. You're not winning.
Yeah, well, point differential and tiebreaker for playoffs.
For the Raiders? They make the playoffs. They couldn't see the playoffs with a binoculars. It's just very odd. Meanwhile, everyone kind of uses the Raiders as a get-right game or to show off quarterbacks or whatever. And Bo Nix was good yesterday, but I was kind of expecting something really big. But he was good. 31 of 38 passes for 212 yards.
I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Athletics. Diana Rossini did a profile over the weekend just bashing Brady's role in the Raiders.
I told you he was involved, dude. I know he's not watching tape on
you
the
told
South
me that
Dakota
it was going
State
to turn around
tackles.
the Raiders. I think you thought they might be a playoff team.
No, but you won't acknowledge that he's actually helping, that he's making decisions in that organization.
There was a lot of things about how he's not there a lot.
Nobody's on the phone every day. He's the one who wanted Chip Kelly. They made that abundantly clear.
Oh, he's the one who wanted Chip? Okay.
That's what Diana's article said.
Anyway, yeah, I just think that he still is able to, because he's not physically there, he can sort of draw the line and say, it's not me.
All right, let's go to the frozen tundra, which definitely lived up to its name as freezing temperatures hit around 18 degrees. But the Packers did enough to hold on to beat the Bears 28-21.
And I just wish that Caleb Williams had done anything else on that 4th and 1 play. There's 4th and 1. They're down by a touchdown. It's under 2 minutes left to go, Pearl. And he could have run for the first down. He could have thrown the ball to DJ Moore. Instead, he threw the ball to a covered receiver. Ends up being an interception. It was such a fun game. You almost didn't want it to end. It was really, really cool. Obviously, Packers defense comes up big to close things out. But I love it. I do. I think this is going to be one of those really great rivalries to come with Jordan Love and Caleb Williams. This was a great game and totally lived up to the hype.
Oh, absolutely. I'm very curious about, we're going to get into it later, are the Packers the favorite in the NFC? I think so, but then again, they did let the Bears hang around a little bit. Matt LaFleur gets weird conservative at certain times. I'm excited about them. Jordan Love makes throws that are Aaron Rodgers-esque. There's no doubt about it. And sometimes he'll make a read that is great too. I don't know, him and Watson, really, you're seeing chemistry lately, which is really exciting.
This one was a laugher, and we expected it to be. Rams going to Arizona and smack them around 45-17.
I feel like the Cardinals are like a bye now. They have no mojo going. There's nothing there. What was the report? Kyler Murray's gone from the facility. He's out. They're done with him forever. I don't know where we're going here, but I did enjoy watching Matthew Stafford throw just dimes like he was playing 7-on-7. It's just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, MVP back in play for Matthew Stafford after they dropped the game to Carolina last week, and he actually weirdly got outplayed by Bryce Young at the end of that game. But back on, the statistics are, impressive. Is Kyler Murray the next Jets quarterback? Where's this guy going to land?
I think he's starting quarterback. Kyler Murray's going to start in the NFL. I'd be surprised. But is Gannon gone too? I think Jonathan Gannon was on the fence, and the lack of effort at the end of the season might cost him his job in Arizona.
Stafford has thrown multiple touchdowns in 7 consecutive games. That's the longest streak in the NFL. And I understand that he is going to get the MVP love. I do think that we are sleeping a little on my guy, Josh Allen. The Bills would be a 5-win team without him.
Ooh, some Bills propaganda there.
There you go.
All right, we're going to close out with the Texans possibly closing out the Chiefs for this season. They win on Sunday Night Football 20-10.
Always stunning when you see it happen, Pearl, because we're not used to it. The Chiefs are not just a stalwart in the Super Bowl, but certainly the playoffs. They made the playoffs the last 10 years in a row, and they've been dominant in the division. And I guess all good things come to at least a temporary end. We have no doubt that the Chiefs will be back, but everything that has gone wrong this season on the field seems to have gone wrong.
Yeah, it's so close, though. That's the weird thing about it. It's not like they're getting blown out. It's a weird Kareem Hunt drop here, a Rashee Rice drop there. A field goal hits the upright and doesn't bounce in. It bounces out. It is so bizarrely just off, where last year everything was bizarrely on. Last year, remember they blocked that Broncos field goal? The opposite is happening this year. They are losing close games, but their offense also is not. Remember, they promised explosiveness. It is not really there. Texans are a hard team to be explosive against, but they certainly did not come up with that. I do think we want to change the interception stat. Mahomes had technically 3 interceptions, right?
Yeah.
One was sort of a fumble by Kelsey. One was a 3rd and 6 where he threw it 50 yards down the field. It was a beautiful outcome. It should have been 1 pick. That's all I'm going to say. I don't love the way all interceptions are completely different. I've always maintained that. Nobody really cares.
Yeah, no, I hear you. They're not all the same. I'll give you that. Kelsey looks washed. It's over.
And then there's games where he looks good, though.
Well, not really.
He's had some last month. He's had a couple good games. I
By the way,
I would be shocked if he came back too.
Think about this. What were we, 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago where the Chiefs even thought for a half a second not to pay Chris Jones? He was so good yesterday. Okay.
When he was in the stands watching the game?
Yeah, that was crazy. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. We get back to it with the M&P 500 coming your way next. Whose stock is up and whose stock is down after a big weekend?
All right, Maggie. There's so much going on right now. The best way to enjoy it for me is prize.
Battery, but Pete's got none.
Down in San Antonio, where the warm sunrise rolls, lives Kevin LaMelle, sending breakfast pics like daily goals. He blesses the whole chat before stepping out the door, and then he's back from breakfast, saying he's ready for more. Coffee in his right hand, Pop-Tarts on his mind. Kevin LaMelle brings a morning that feels one of a kind. It is breakfast with Kevin LaMelle, straight from San Antone, sharing morning snapshots with Infinity Sports Radio on. Talking Texans, defense, and CFP, chaos too, saying he loves this show and he means it through and through. Happy holidays and good mornings, is Breakfast with Kevin LaMelo, running his own morning show. He talks Notre Dame's independence and the Pop-Tarts Bowl plan. Says the playoff will grow like March Madness once the money hits the fan. Says it is all about ESPN and the cash they chase. Too much confusion for the teams trying to keep pace. Born in East Chicago, now calling Texas home. Kevin LaMelo brings a warmth that feels like a poem. It is Breakfast with Kevin LaMelo, checking in without fail. Back from breakfast once again, like he is reading from a tale. He asked about the best calls Infinity Sports Radio ever had. Drops emoji faces that make the chat laugh like mad. Wishing everyone a happy Monday wherever they go. It is Breakfast with Kevin LaMelo, shining in the morning glow. He says the Chiefs need rebuilding after the season went flat. Great call, Brett, is something he drops right into the chat. And when he went to his high school reunion, he could hardly believe his eyes. All the beautiful women there, looking like a Texas sunrise. Meanwhile, somewhere far away, Bilotti misses work again. Kevin jokes that the man has not punched in since who knows when. If there were odds on Bilotti arriving the under would cash with ease, Kevin LaMelo laughs gently while sipping coffee in peace. It is Breakfast with Kevin LaMelo, rising warm with the sun, sending photos of his plate before the show has even begun.
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, we're back on Maggie and Perloff. Lots to talk about the college football playoff committee and Notre Dame and all the controversy. But I actually came in fired up about another controversy, another thing that I want to take to the high quarter sports. I think we're going to get into that in Andrew Bogus's update at some point here.
Yeah, time permitting. We'll see if we get there.
Yeah, it might be next hour, but I think I need to take something to sports court, as it were.
Okay, court is in session. We'll begin, though, with Sunday Night Football. 4th and 1 from their own 31, 4th and 4 from their own 41. Two gambles, neither paid off for the Chiefs last night. They did erase a 10-0 halftime hole, but could not score in that final period and couldn't catch the Texans again. My bad, says Andy Reid.
I put the guys offensively in a tough position with the 4th downs. I'm trying to stay aggressive with it. I take full responsibility for that.
In between.
I mean, they were trying to get a yard. It's like a yard and a little bit.
Yes.
They make it seem like Andy Reid went for it on 4th and 8 from his 20.
No. It reminded me a lot of when Bill Belichick went for it against Indiana on his 28. Do you guys remember that play?
Yes. Oh, yeah, that one of the worst plays I've ever seen, right?
Yeah, it just reminded me a little bit of it, at least the reaction. It was a 31 to 28. And the problem was, you could kind of feel that was the wrong call last night. I mean, you're saying it wasn't.
They had 3 more drives after that.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah, but the problem was, it was very clear the Texans, the only way they would score is if they had a short field.
Yes.
They could not move the ball at all. So to even give them an opportunity to take the lead, if you messed up there, it was unforgivable to me.
But you don't think Patrick Mahomes can get a yard? I mean, I understand, play the game you're in. I always say that. And the game they were in it was really hard to get a yard last night. But come on.
I think against that Texas defense, you got to give them a lot more respect than that.
Especially the way their defense was playing the Chiefs in the moment.
But
and
the
it was
Chiefs
the 31-yard line.
Just as good. Like,
That's the point. Yeah.
I know.
Punt it, play defense, get it back, and try again.
I mean, I think it definitely cost them the game. I love Andy, but I credit Andy. He did seem upset. He's like, yeah, I screwed that one up.
Well,
like the season's on the line.
You got all those championship rings. I think you can move on pretty quickly.
3 rings, you can screw it up. You know?
Yeah. He's like, wish I had that one back. Like, dude, you just got eliminated from the playoffs.
Wait, who was the coach
Pass
last
me the
year
ketchup.
that said about, it was last week, I mean, who was like, man, we
Oh, yeah, that was,
it was Brian
Schottenheimer. Yeah.
He's like, man, we didn't go for it on enough 4th downs. We had to settle for field goals. It's like, that's your choice. You're calling the plays, literally. You decide.
Yeah, settle too many field goals.
Yeah. Huh.
Wonder who did that one.
In between those two fourth-quarter, 4th down stops, the Texans got a tie-breaking TD run from Dare Ogunbowale. They won 20-10, extending their win streak to 5 and putting them in the last AFC wildcard spot for now. Patrick Mahomes, 3 picks in this game, the last of which came late in the 4th when this was still a 1-score affair. Travis Kelce juggling the pass into the hands of Azeez Al-Shire. And now KC is 6-7, 10th in the conference. Their playoff odds down to 16%. They cannot win the AFC West.
Sorry to hijack that. I'm not going to try to derail us for too long, but I think one thing about Travis Kelce, the biggest headline he's made in weeks, is that he and Taylor paid off the couple who was having the wedding at the venue they wanted, at the date they wanted, and paid them to go away.
Good for them.
No, smart for them. Okay. How much do you think the other couple charged them? Like, what do you do?
$1 million.
Yeah, at least $1 million.
$1 million. See, I don't think so. If you're getting married at the same venue as Taylor Swift and Travis
You're
Kelce,
loaded.
You're also loaded, number one. So, 2, I don't even think I would actually ask for money. I'd ask for Taylor to sing me a song, or I'd ask for Chiefs tickets, or I'd do something because what am I ask for, $500,000? Yeah, that sounds great. I don't think you're getting $1 million.
Do you know what it was?
What? No, I don't. I'm asking. Like,
I know.
Do you take advantage of them?
On if
there's anything I learned about rich people in this country is there's never enough money.
I get it.
Everybody's got a price.
I know. Well, obviously they do, but I wonder what it was. And also, do you instead be like, actually, I want to have lunch with Taylor Swift?
I think you got to go down that route. Like, she's not going to come play at your reception, but you got to get something specific to them, from them, out of this. That's not just cash and prizes, like a Price is Right, competition.
She's not going to lunch with somebody.
No.
She'd probably give
Bring your
$5 million
guards.
not to go to lunch.
How bad do you want the venue?
And I think they held out for a while, right? This couple?
I don't know.
I think there's a lot of bargaining.
All right, so they got something.
They got something.
All right.
They got something.
Back to you.
The NFC West now has 2 10-win teams. The Seahawks got there first with a 37-9 dismantling of the Falcons in Atlanta. That's their worst loss in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The Rams then kept pace with Seattle in Arizona.
Stafford gets a new possession in plus territory. Short set, a ball fake. He wheels, he deals, jumping at the 5. It's Puka again! On one play, a 31-yard strike. Puka Nacua.
JB Long, Rams radio. Puka Nacua catching 2 of Matthew Stafford's 3 touchdown passes. LA rolling to a 45-17 win over the Cardinals. This is not awkward at all. New Virginia Tech head coach James Franklin is apparently bringing back the man that he's replacing, Brett Pry, to be his defensive coordinator. Pry had that job with Franklin at Penn State before taking over the Hokies.
Oh, it's like Vance Joseph, the head coach of the Broncos. Right, and he got it back as a defensive coordinator.
Was it immediate, though?
No,
right?
It wasn't immediate.
You know what this is, right? This is, remember the Titans minus segregation.
Yeah.
Virginia.
It's a big minus.
That's a big part of the movie.
Will
Patton, yeah.
I'm just saying,
Good call.
Virginia team wears maroon, hires a new coach. The guy that was the old coach becomes defensive coordinator and sticks around.
Maybe it's his favorite movie, James.
Maybe.
By the way, I realized
definitely.
what I would ask the couple if Travis Kelce and Taylor wanted. Just you should ask to get invited to the Taylor Travis wedding. Like you can have my date
That's
that
a
you
good
want,
good
but
one.
I want to be invited to your wedding.
Yeah.
Everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
I'm sure they quote, who was that, DiBiase?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Here is, I don't know if this is specifically what you want, Pearl, but it comes from the game that you want to discuss this morning.
LeBron for 3. Good! LeBron has taken over. 24 in the game for LeBron.
John Ireland on Lakers radio. LeBron, a tie-breaking 3, then a jumper to close out a 112-108 win in Philadelphia for his Lakers. He finished with 29 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. Now, please tell the court what is bothering you this morning.
So the Lakers, according to my sources, which is Ray, at the water cooler, was telling me that the Lakers completely sat everybody the game before against the Celtics, then played everybody against the Sixers. Why are they load managing for the greatest rivalry in NBA history and then having everybody come out for a cold Sunday game in Philly when LeBron should be on the couch watching football is the number one job? Like, why is that the load management? Why isn't that the load management game? Explain that, Ray.
Well, we played in Toronto the night before. For whatever reason, the NBA thought it was a good idea to put Lakers and Celtics on the second half of a back-to-back. So LeBron didn't play. Luka was in Slovenia welcoming a new baby. So it is just bad luck for Philly, I guess.
Ah, man. That's such a bummer. Nothing with the Lakers.
You should take it as a compliment. They thought they could beat the Celtics with the B squad, but they need the A squad for Philly.
It's the opposite. They knew they could beat it.
I know what it is. I'm saying, well, yeah, you should take it.
Yeah, no, I just think that's a bummer because you get those West Coast teams on the East and you really hope for load management.
What I didn't understand is why he didn't. Now I'm on you guys' side. We talked about this last week. Why didn't he just then not play the Raptors? Like, why do you not play the Raptors and then have him play the Celtics?
Well, we talked about
national
this.
TV.
You
Yeah.
thought it's because he's still
Well, you
friendly
know
with Drake.
Lebarto, you
That was
see.
crazy.
Well, it wasn't that he was friendly with Drake.
No,
It's that
he took
has
sides with that
connections
Lamar,
in Toronto.
with Kendrick. LeBron.
No, I
took
know, but
he chose up. He chose Kendrick Lamar. Didn't
He definitely did.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, he has a lot of connections in Toronto. And perhaps maybe he wanted to stick it to Drake and say, I'm going to play against your team, and I'm going to score 4 points, but we're still going to win. Ha-ha.
I mean, listen, there's still 412 games left on the schedule. I'm sure the Sixers can make it up. but still.
You're right. It's not even 2026 yet.
Yeah. And that's where the NBA is. We're debating about load management choices. I did do that to just point out once again how stupid the NBA regular season is. Sorry, NBA.
The Nuggets.
Meanwhile, you have your, a fingernail out of bounds in college football. Forget it. You're out.
For now.
Yeah.
They're starting to get silly, too.
Yeah, I feel like that. I mean, I know it was random, but they just dismissed that Ryan Williams, 30-yard run. I was like, that looked close to me. And they
stepped out. I know.
I mean, I feel like there are things now, and I've said this before, where if it's the whole indisputable evidence thing does not exist anymore.
Oh, well,
they just feel like, it looks like he was out. We're taking it away. I'm like, whoa, this is supposed to be indisputable. Where's the indisputable evidence?
Well, how about I made this complaint earlier. Now you can overturn a replay review in the NFL? What's up with that?
You can?
Yes, they are.
There's difference because it's what's it called? Replay assist.
Replay assist.
Expedited review. Yeah.
They overturned a replay assist yesterday.
A spot, which they always get wrong anyway.
But since when? Don't you assume that's going to the same people who would be handling the challenges and
It doesn't matter how much time they have. The replay assist has to be boom, boom. Otherwise, it can't be a replay assist.
But replay assist shouldn't be overturning things if they don't know.
If they don't know what it is.
Again, going back to the indisputable
Just
evidence
let the
aspect
refs
of this.
do it.
Right.
If you have no idea what the hell it is, then just sit it out.
Yeah, again, I don't think they care about indisputable evidence anymore. They're just wherever the wind blows. I think that we need to overturn this.
I thought there was another weird one yesterday, and I know this is maybe a little bit longer, but there was a moment in the Bills game yesterday where James Cook fumbles. Okay, not the one where he fumbled in the end zone and got recovered by the Bengals. That was totally kosher.
The one 2 plays before that.
Where he fumbled, a little bit before, but where he fumbled at the goal line, okay? And they had to determine whether or not the ball had gone out through the back of the end zone, Pearl, or whether it just gone out of bounds. The problem is that whole play got wiped out on a hold. So the whole play is gone. It's not, the play didn't stand and then you're doing the challenge. The whole play was wiped out for a hold. So now you can go to a challenge to look for more things that were wrong with the play?
Well, because if it was a touchback, then the Bengals would have declined the penalty.
No,
Yeah,
okay, yes.
the hole was on the Bills.
You know, it would have changed possessions. I understand it would have been a touchback. But again, the whole play ceases to exist at that point, does it not?
No, because if the hold, the Bengals reviewed it so that they could change their decision on the penalty, because then they would have declined the hold on Buffalo and they would have had the football for a touchback. They had to review that.
I understand, but you are basically taking a play that should have never happened. Put it that way, right?
No,
They're saying James Cook should not have gotten to the goal line because there was a hold that helped him.
But that's not how the hold works. If you were because the play always happens on a hold. And then you decide by the outcome of the play whether you want to accept or decline the penalty if you're the person benefiting from it.
It's not a dead ball foul. It's not like false start. Like false
Exactly.
start,
Yes,
you
right.
would say, well, this play doesn't count because it shouldn't have
Free
even
play
started.
On the flip side would be
right.
I just find that it felt like, what are we doing? Because the call on the field should just stand. It was out of bounds.
I was more confused by the one play in Packers-Bears where Matt LaFleur challenged, the one where they were fighting over possession, and he challenged it, and he wanted it to be their ball. And they changed the call, but not to the one he wanted, but they still counted it as a successful challenge.
And he got the timeout
and
back.
He saved his timeout.
Yeah.
And he wasn't really right.
And in NBA, I think that you don't win those, I think. I'm like 85% sure. I think if they change a call, but if it's not what you were looking for,
you still lose it. I think you're right.
But they can still adjust whatever they need to fix.
Yeah.
NBA has it somehow better than the NFL in that aspect.
It's getting way too complicated. All right, that's where we got to leave it, folks. Thanks so much. Coming up next, we'll do the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down.
You're in a 5-minute break.
One of a kind. It is breakfast with Kevin Linnell, straight from San Antonio. Well, infinity died with a thud so loud it scared the pigeons off a goddamn cloud. People packed up faster than a bad first date, and bloody, yeah, that man was gone before they even closed the gate. They checked his desk, checked the hall, checked the bathroom stall like he might have hit a wall, but no, Pete dipped out like a criminal on the run. A master class and I'm never coming back, son. And folks whispered maybe there's a merger, maybe a fix, but nobody, this thing blew up like a firecracker in a box of beer. It's Glorio splat, that big messy crash. Infinity hit the pavement like a sack of hot trash. It's all over now.
river's clear.
2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. We'll get to the M&P 500 in the next hour because we need a little bit more time for it because there's so much insane, absurd things that happen this weekend. To do stock up, stock down has to get its whole proper due. In the meantime, we're talking about Notre Dame being spurned at the last moment, Pearl, for Miami, something the committee had not been showing you they were capable of until the very last second, where they consistently ranked Notre Dame ahead of the Hurricanes, but then flipped it. Jay's in Nashville, wants to talk about it. Good morning, Jay.
What's up? You guys are talking about a lot of randomly weird things, and it's a randomly weird morning. I mean, I'm waking up on a Monday, randomly listening to a group called the Sundays, and I'm just like, where were you guys yesterday? But I mean, only thing, yeah, it's a real nostalgic morning right now. But the only thing I can say about Notre Dame, you know the Simpsons. What's that kid named Nelson? That's all I can say to them. Go join a freaking conference, and then we can talk, bro. Everybody's been complaining about you not being in the conference, and this is where it bit you in the butt. So if you want to just walk out, fake jacks on a bowl game, go ahead and cry in the corner, dude. Go cry in the car like Friday. You know what I mean? But also, it is kind of weird because the Ravens suck, the Eagles, something wrong with them, the Chiefs suck. You know what I mean? It looked like Kyler Murray might wind up playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers because I'm sure they're not going to bring back Aaron, a.k.a. should have took the Jeopardy money, Rodgers, next year. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of weird. It's funny. It's a good kind of weird, but it's weird.
Yeah, Jay, I hadn't thought about Aaron Rodgers and the Jeopardy thing in a really long time. Thank you for the call. Have yourself a good Monday. If we never knew anything else about Aaron Rodgers, just that he was the Jeopardy host. His approval rating might be the highest of any person in this country. I don't know if he's still so polarizing. He hasn't talked much about conspiracy theories and stuff lately, but he did an entire documentary about him taking hallucinogenic drugs. Like, that probably would not have happened if he was Ken Jennings.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. He wanted to host and play football simultaneously, right? So good luck predicting that, man. Are you sure that he wouldn't have gone off on this direction as the host of Jeopardy? I have no idea. He is a enigma.
He would love for you to continue that, to get a little boost for
I
the
do agree
Netflix
that
show.
The funny thing is, he said yesterday after the game, he said something like, "Oh, now you're going to leave us alone for a week." He's still super defiant on the press. And by the way, like, just being the Ravens does not mean what I think Steelers fans might think it means. Like, they could show up in a completely different way next week. We have no idea.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
The Steelers beat the Ravens yesterday, but in some ways, as you're a Steelers fan, of course, you're happy. You're still in first place in the AFC North, but you have to be like, where was this the whole time? So you're telling me we can't throw down the field. Aaron Rodgers yesterday had his first pass, Pearl, completed pass of 20 or more yards for the first time since October. Yeah. It's Christmas time, everybody. Yeah. That's crazy to me. And so obviously it's there. I know he had the setback, a little bit with the non-throwing hand, but it's been there. They're almost feel like they're choosing not to take advantage of it. And it only took everyone getting on their behinds this whole week. And is Tomlin going to go? And what's the future like for the Steelers? That feels like they came out with something to prove offensively. And it looked great. It looked much better, put it that way. Defense still got gashed on the ground, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's not right.
Yeah, and again, I'll be very surprised if they can play that well the rest of the season. I know that Tomlin was also talking tough. He was doing it's all too much for one divisional game against a team that we don't know if they're good.
Did Rodgers do the discount double check yesterday?
Yeah, he did. And then Tomlin did 3 times, right? How many times did Tomlin do it? Did you guys see that clip?
I only saw the Rodgers clip, but it was cool.
He's not even a spokesperson for them anymore.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Mahomes in the shotgun, gets the snap, back to pass, looks right, nothing there, fires over the middle, pass batted in the air, and it is intercepted. Jalen Petrie picked it off, and the Texans have a takeaway.
Thank you to Westwood One. Houston Texans beat the Kansas City Chiefs 20-10. This was a team who has ended the Texans seasons in the playoffs, but now it looks like the Texans have ultimately ended the Kansas City Chiefs' run of playoff appearances. It's been a heck of an era here for Kansas City, and I have no doubt they'll be back. But, Pearl, all these close losses have just come back to haunt them finally.
Yeah, I guess football gods or something. I can't believe they're gone. It's just weird. So they've been in pretty much every Super Bowl except for that one where Joe Burrow came back from a 21-3 deficit to beat them. I think that's really interesting for the AFC. That's all I'm going to say. Really, really interesting.
Well, a couple boogeymen are out. Kansas City, obviously, number one for the AFC, but the Bengals basically getting eliminated yesterday by the Bills.
Yep.
With Joe Burrow alive, you never know what's going on. And the Ravens. The Ravens are on life support now, a little bit better shot. They have to beat the Steelers at the end of the season. But yesterday, the Ravens dropped that one at home, in Baltimore, where you're hoping that's where you would be able to get your win if you ultimately needed a split. And no playoffs, like no Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar.
Yeah.
To me, as the Bills fan here, I'm like, this is no excuse for Josh Allen. But I look at the Houston Texans, I'm like, that is a team that would be very hard to beat.
Yeah,
they look
absolutely.
great because of that defense.
I mean, their offense is pretty mid.
Yep.
So, again, it feels like almost everybody in the AFC has some flaw. I mean, sign me up. If it's a Green Bay Jacksonville Super Bowl, that is, let's go.
It might be.
I think New England, Denver, Houston, obviously your Buffalo Bills, they all can look at this playoff field and say, yeah, why not us?
Yeah, but I think it would particularly sting, not to make it about Buffalo and Josh Allen, that was a really big win for them, but it would particularly sting for the Bills if they can't get to the Super Bowl in a year when all of your biggest foes up to this point are home. To not have to go through Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, to not have to have a game come down to the wire with the Ravens, to not have to face Joe Burrow, who plays excellent in Buffalo outside of 2 bad throws yesterday that handed the game back to Buffalo. Burrow was amazing in the snow yesterday. So, to me, that would signal a real missed opportunity for Drake May or Bo Nix, one of these really young guys, or even C.J. Stroud, still super young, to get through to the playoffs. Because I think the Colts now are effectively done.
Oh, absolutely. But you do have the Texans and Jaguars. I know the Jaguars, no one's taking them seriously. But if their defense plays well, there's a chance. One thing that's good about the Jags is Travis Hunter going out for the season apparently makes no impact because he did not impact winning in any way because he doesn't have a position. I'm sorry. It's just true. I'm like, hey, are they better without Travis Hunter? Because they don't have a guy who's trying to be in both sides of the building and during a week. Anyway, that's funny that they look much better than they have all season. They've been pretty consistent lately.
They have. The one thing still with them, the defense has been good all year. Now the offense seems to be catching up, but and Brian Thomas is back. But the penalties, oh my gosh, this undisciplined team.
They can definitely run the ball, though. That's what's interesting. You look at all these teams, Denver, New England, they all have strengths.
Yep.
And then they all have weaknesses. And then the funny thing is we're just not used to any of them because it should be Kansas City.
Nuts. Just nuts. But, it'd been trending this way. And now Kansas City's going to have some interesting choices to make this offseason. Obviously, Kelsey looks like he's pretty much done. I still think Steve Spagnuolo is doing a hell of a job. Chris Jones looks amazing. They lost Trent McDuffie yesterday to injury, but they still have all the offensive weapons. Rashee Rice got absolutely annihilated. Just the physicality of Houston is the best outside of Denver, probably. The Rams defense, I'm just talking about the AFC. Denver's defense is ferocious. Obviously, the Browns are not a factor, but their defense is hard hitting. But I would say Houston and Denver, their defenses, as far as the AFC is concerned, are tough. And by the way, New England's defense is very tough, and they showed that against the Giants the last time we saw them.
Well, that doesn't count.
But they were putting guys out in stretchers. It was bad.
The Giants could just trying to walk through a door as an injury risk. I agree. Houston really hits. Mahomes, because the Kansas City offense is completely messed up, had to put that hospital ball up. He didn't want to do that. That play completely blew up, and he made a magical play. So there was just something completely off about Kansas City, and they should have won that game last night. They were trending. They were down 10-7, should have probably gone in for a touchdown that drive to go up 14-10, but they keep missing little things, which they never did during this run at all. It's the little things that are destroying them.
Yep, it's true. And Andy Reid's getting roasted because they went for it on a 4th and a healthy one.
Desperate. He was desperate.
At the 30-yard line. I didn't think it was such an egregious call personally, but it's not like they went for it on a 4th and 6.
Quick question. Right. How come everyone is allowing Matt Nagy to get away with being a criminal as an offensive coordinator?
Nobody is.
No one's talking about
No.
Matt
I would say
because Andy Reid calls a play.
He was a head coaching candidate, and he ain't no more. Let's put it that way.
Well, I'd love to hear more about that because he's been rooting that offense for 2 years now. He's terrible.
But it's Reid. It's not. I don't think that he gets any of the shrapnel because I don't think people believe he does anything.
What is Eric Bieniemy up to right now?
No, everyone believes Nagy does something. It's the other OCs who don't do anything. Nagy gets a lot of credit there. In fact, he was supposed to be a head coach about halfway through the season when Mahomes was looking great. People were like, "Oh, Nagy's going to get a job," but not anymore.
Mahomes looking great. He was the leading rusher on the team, and everyone's like, "That's a problem."
Didn't he have 17 touchdowns? He was the MVP frontrunner after 7 weeks. Remember? He had 17 touchdowns and 2
early in
picks.
the season, he was definitely one of the MVP front runners.
Yeah, he was playing great, and Nagy was the guy, and something happened. I don't know what.
I'll give you, without looking it up, can anyone tell me for $1 where is Eric Bieniemy coaching right now?
See, he was at UCLA. I know that. Oh, wait, I know.
Yeah, not UCLA. It's the pros. I'll just give you that. It's the pros.
Oh, I'm out. Atlanta?
I didn't know this.
He's like a running back coach for one of these NFL teams.
Is it the Commanders?
No,
he's gone from that.
He got fired from them. Is it Atlanta?
It's the Bears, according to the internet.
Well, he should be getting interviews. You see that Bears running game?
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Kyle Monongai.
I know we give Cam Scatterboo all the he runs like a madman. Monongai is the same way.
He's a beast.
He broke some guy. He broke some guy's helmet yesterday. He literally is the embodiment of Marshawn Lynch run through somebody's face. I would never want to tackle that.
He's
guy.
Isaiah Pacheco 3 years ago.
Yeah,
which means he's going to wear out in 2 years.
Exactly.
Same college program. Let's go to Sean, who's in Pittsburgh. What's up, Sean?
I'm a Steeler fan, so obviously I'm a Lamar hater.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to reach out to you guys. every single year, I hear all of the sports media tell me how great Lamar is, how they're going to win the division, how he's elite. And every single year he fails. Now, this is you guys' opportunity to talk about Lamar's failures the same way that you do his successes. Every single year I hear about Baltimore, and every year they fail. Here's my question. Who's your pick to win the AFC North Division next year?
Baltimore.
I guarantee you'll both say Baltimore.
No, definitely Baltimore.
Pearl, did you pick
See
up
what
the
I
Super Bowl
mean?
this year?
There's
No.
my point. There it is.
Yeah, no, I picked it. Well,
do
Cincinnati's
this
going to
year
lose.
after
Sean,
year after
Sean,
year.
I
but
love but hold on 1 second. Don't point the finger. Look at the thumb. Back at your own Steelers. We'd love to keep picking the Steelers. You got a coach who never goes below 500. If you actually had a competent offense, most people would pick the Steelers.
And again, you're not talking about Baltimore. I want Lamar's criticism to match the praise that he gets from the sports media. If you guys did that, you would have to do day-long segments about Lamar's failure at the end of seasons.
But it's always in the playoffs. Everyone knows about the playoff failures. You talking about something different?
I'm talking.
But the playoff
Why
failures is well
doesn't
documented.
anyone tell the truth in the
Because he's
sports
great.
media
He's
about
always
Lamar?
great during the regular season, and he's been struggling in the playoffs.
Also, Sean, I'm going to be honest. Like, you want your pound of flesh on Lamar Jackson. First of all, you're proving that he's living rent-free in your head. Sorry, I got to let you go because it sounds windy. And two, if your team could win a playoff game over the last 8 years, we'd be talking more about the Steelers.
Tomlin
you know something I never heard, guys?
What?
I never heard that Lamar Jackson doesn't perform in the playoffs. No one's ever said that on national radio or on television.
We only say he's got more he and Josh Allen have the most pressure on them both to win Super Bowls because they have.
Yeah.
And Josh plays better in the postseason, but still.
But that's not a national storyline is actually like, have you been in a coma? Like I produce a national radio show where I feel like every January the same segment comes up. Lamar Jackson fails again. What happened?
Perloff thinks he can't play in the cold.
Right.
Yeah. By the way,
And the worst
Sean's in
criticism you
Pittsburgh.
can give
I get
somebody.
it because Tomlin owns him. I mean, he just outright. I've seen red hot Lamar come into a Steelers game and just get solved. So that is exactly what's going on there, by the way. And he's got a hurt hamstring now. So Sean probably sees a bad Lamar and wonders.
But he didn't see him in the playoffs last year. They got steamrolled for like 300 yards rushing. Like
that was an anomaly because the Steelers had given up on the season. Because Russ was their quarterback.
They're in the postseason.
Playoff game?
They lost their last 5 games. They were done. They were donezo.
Once you're playing in the playoffs, I don't think you're quitting a playoff game.
Oh, they had quit. The second they had watched too much Russell Wilson during that season, and they definitely quit. They let
And
up
as
300
for-
rushing yards. That was a quit.
His criticisms, part of the reason Lamar didn't get the MVP last year was because people were saying, we've seen this before. The writers felt like, all right, you've done this enough. Do it in the playoffs.
Yeah,
That's true.
But that is true, by the way, about Mike T and the Ravens. Like, all bets are off when those two teams. I'm telling you, do not read too much into this. I still think the Ravens have a chance this year. They play in Week 18, right? If they're alive in that game, we will see. Because also, you should give the ball to Derrick Henry not just 25 times, give it to him 45 times and try to wear out that Steelers defense.
Okay. You know what? Let's hold it for a second. Let's go to Ed in San Francisco, just doing an on-air production meeting there. Ed, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing great this morning. How about yourself?
We're doing good. What's your gripe with the College Football Playoff Committee?
Okay, first I just want to say I told you so about my Rams. They will be right back on top after this weekend.
Nailed
first
it.
and foremost.
Nailed it.
Yeah. My problem with the college with this seating it's a disgrace. Florida State suffered something like this a few years ago. Notre Dame got shafted. I don't care how you line it up. They got shafted. You let an 8 team of Alabama with 3 losses. The SEC seems to be, the committee seems to be biased toward the SEC. If you're going to let one of the SEC teams, why not Vanderbilt? Alabama, you got smoked in the SEC championship. You had 2 other losses prior to that, and you shaft a Notre Dame team with only 2 losses, despite the fact that they lost to Miami. Should have put them both in there. Let that rematch happen. The other thing I'm a little disappointed with is how Indiana beats Ohio State, they only slide down one spot. I think they should have slid to the number 4 spot, and my alma mater would have went up to number 2 or 3, the Red Raiders. But other than that, I think that they need to start getting 880s from different conferences that's not involved in the
Oh, Ed, you can't do it. You can't, there's no way a committee is going to be able to ever satisfy everybody. Now, Ed, you bring up an interesting point. Would this all have been better if Miami and Notre Dame got in and Alabama was out? Or, Pearl, maybe not Alabama. Maybe that's not your call. I don't see how the committee's biased towards the SEC when they have 5 teams in the college football playoff. But I think
they're biased against the SEC.
Against the SEC, excuse me. When they got 5 teams in, which is more than any other conference, obviously. But
I mean, come on.
Tulane and James Madison. I think that we all love an underdog, and we do like the idea of having this bracket open to everybody. But do we need 2 group of 5 teams?
That's what happens when you put guidelines in there. If you just said, give me the 12 best teams, the more rules you put in, which they want a bunch of rules, the more problems you're going to have. They should know that.
Yeah, but it's weird because the ACC championship game, because Duke won, you couldn't put UVA in because in that conference championship game, the loser drops, right?
Right, and UVA would not have been in. I mean, they don't deserve to be in either.
Well, whatever, get out of here. But
no, I mean, there's no case for UVA unless them being conference champion.
And right, but are you supposed to get penalized for losing your conference championship game, or is it not supposed to matter? We still don't know. But anyway, I think the committee was so worried about the potential ramifications of having no teams represented from one of the Power Fours. In this case, it would have been the ACC. That I think that came into play, EJ, for your Miami Hurricanes. Obviously, the head-to-head, you beat Notre Dame, but that didn't matter for a month and a half until yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're a Notre Dame fan, I understand feeling salty about what the committee did to you guys in terms of teasing you essentially for a month and a half. You should not be upset about the fact that you got beat out by Miami. You could have beat Miami on the field head-to-head, and none of this would have happened. But you got off to like a 17-0 start in that game, and you started slow in a regular season just like you guys do every year. So that's the one thing I don't understand from Notre Dame's side is Marcus Freeman, there was a report that apparently he didn't know what to say to his team. He just sat there and said, yeah, guys, I don't know. I guess we just got hosed. What? You weren't undefeated. This wasn't Mike Norvell having to talk to Florida State after going 13-0 and saying, hey, sorry, guys, I don't know what to say. We literally did all we can do, but they put a 1-loss team ahead of us. No, you got beat out by a team that you lost to. How about you say, hey, you know what? Next time we learn, we got to come out much better. We can't be losing Northern Illinois like last year and think that we can get in. We can't start a season 0-2. The fact that there's no lessons to be learned for Notre Dame is ridiculous.
Well, 2 things could be at play. 1, he could be thinking about taking that New York Giants job. That'd be number 1. Or another NFL job. Or 2, he's looking at going on the road playing Miami, facing A&M at home, and saying we lost both of those games by a combined 4 points.
Right, but it's not that they play perfect football. In the first game, I mean, both of those games, that defensive coordinator, Chris Ash, I mean, they wanted to draw and quarter him in the middle of touchdown Jesus. I mean, their defense was awful to start the year, which was bizarre because they're an awesome defensive team. They have great defensive players. But there was a reason why those games were the way they were. They could not block to start the first game, and then their defense did not play essentially for 3 quarters. And in the Texas A&M game, they gave up 1 million points, and they couldn't stop a running quarterback. That's football related. That's not, we got screwed by the refs or screwed by the committee. You could have made a difference in this result. You didn't, and that's why you're home.
Truth of the matter is, you beat a bunch of cupcakes and you lost to good teams when it mattered, when everybody was watching. You have to handle your business.
And here's the thing, they kind of have to schedule some of these. I think they have to schedule some of these bigger teams because their schedule is kind of weak. But I don't know.
Yeah, they're blaming the ACC. You're lucky that you got Miami on your schedule because that's the only reason why they played us. They don't want to play Miami year to year. They prefer to keep these other Purdue every year.
Well, but to be fair, they go to Ohio State. They went to Texas A&M last year. They do try to schedule.
They only do a couple of those games.
Only a couple.
It's only
I'll give you that.
1 or 2. Like, I mean, they had an opportunity this year. They could have stacked the schedule up way tougher. And to only put essentially Texas A&M as your only true non-conference game, because again, the ACC games are out of their control. They signed a deal with the ACC, and the ACC gives them who they play. To not do any other tough games, you put Arkansas on your schedule. What are you doing?
Well, by the way, when did they schedule Miami? Because Miami wasn't before.
That's the thing is that it's not
like
even,
Miami was average when they scheduled probably like a 500 team.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that's the ACC thing. It's not Notre Dame saying, "Hey, we want to play Miami in X amount of year." It's the ACC saying, "Okay,
that wasn't a specific game."
They rotate they basically rotate all these ACC teams in.
Oh, that's how Miami came about?
Yeah, and then Miami is part of the rotation, just like all the other ACC teams.
So they only scheduled one tough game. Texas
exactly.
A&M.
Yeah,
And it was a home and home.
Right, and that's.
And by the way, Texas A&M was nothing either. What were they last year?
Right, they got lucky that Texas A&M was as great as they were. They should have won the freaking game.
Yeah.
They'd be in the tournament.
Texas A&M it was happenstance. You guys got what you deserved in the end. We got to call it what it is.
How about this? The irony is, say Notre Dame says tomorrow, all right, we're joining a conference. We're going to join the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And then they're going to play Minnesota. They're going to play Rutgers. They're going to play UCLA. They're going to play all these crappy teams in that Maryland.
You know what?
And everyone's going to complain.
You know what I think needs to change? I know there's a lot of things. I think we need to get rid of the group of 5 automatic qualifier. But I also think these conferences, they have to go back to divisions. I think if they go back to divisions, we'll actually have a better idea. Because I think the problem is people are just looking at Oregon and saying, well, Big Ten. Therefore, they played tough teams. Well, no, they didn't. Look at their after schedule. This Texas A&M, SEC, they must play tough teams. Well, actually, look at their schedule. They did play Notre Dame non-conference, but the conference schedule was kind of weak. Meanwhile, like Alabama and Oklahoma, they got ran through the ringer in the SEC. Like the schedules are not the same. So if we go into a season saying, okay, I know the Big Ten East is not as good as the Big Ten West, they can then judge that when they put the standings together. But instead, we're just doing Big Ten, SEC, ACC, and just blanking and assuming that these teams are all playing the same teams when they're not.
Yeah.
There's a 5-way tie in the ACC where the top 3 or 4 teams just didn't play each other. Miami did not face any of the 2 teams that were in the ACC title game. That is just a sham. They got to fix that.
There's also an idea, I forgot who had this one, that your best team from your best team from the conference should get sent to the championship.
Absolutely.
So, like, however you decide that, conferences decide that you're going to send your best team.
Right. So you're saying, absolutely. So head-to-head doesn't matter in that scenario?
No, I would say head-to-head would be the only thing that I would keep. I'm saying
But you just said the best team, though.
No, what I would do, because I have laid this out, I know you're laughing, I think that head-to-head should always matter. But there are times, again, because these conferences are so bloated, that you have 5-way ties, 3 or 4-way tie in the SEC. Once that happens, the highest teams from the CFP, that should be the next determinator, and that's it. None of this.
Oh, so you trust the committee now?
No, well, I trust the committee because those conferences want those teams in. Alabama's complaining right now. If Alabama, they would have did it how I say, which is to do it as the college football playoff ranking, Alabama wouldn't have played in the SEC title game, which, by the way, they didn't deserve. They were the 4th best team in the SEC. We all saw that. We all see the ranking.
I don't think they wanted to play in that game, and obviously
they would have played that game if they could have, but no question. But the problem is the ACC. They would have preferred to have Miami playing in an AC title game. They put themselves through the ringer, not knowing if Miami's going to make it because they had no choice because of their own rules. Put Duke in. If they want Duke in the tournament, no.
It's a fun game though.
It was a fun game. And Manny Diaz's beard is great.
Yeah. Okay, we got to take a quick break. We got to get to the M&P 500. Whose stock is up, whose stock is down after a big weekend. We do it next. We promise.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
Hi, welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Every week we do stock up, stock down after a busy sports weekend. Maggie, get us started. Stock up.
Okay, stock up for me this week has got to go to the combination Fernando Mendoza, Curt Cignetti. This has just been unreal. Cignetti got it started last year, obviously, with Curtis Rourke, but now Fernando Mendoza has taken the torch. Just listen to how emotional Fernando Mendoza was after Indiana won the Big Ten championship.
Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go!
Flipping champs. I want a Hoosiers are flipping champs t-shirt, Pearl. I'm not even an alum or anywhere close. But Fernando Mendoza, stock all the way up and won the Heisman most likely on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, now the real fun starts. Curious how Indiana matches up in this tournament. I mean, I would still think, honestly, that's almost a game you want to lose to Ohio State, because could you beat Ohio State twice? When you think about the challenge of that, it's a little more daunting. But I love him. I'm really excited for him. I love how crazy all these quarterbacks are now.
I mean, do you realize the swag that's happening between Mendoza and Cignetti? I mean, they think they can beat anybody. I think they believe if you put them on the field with the Tennessee Titans, they would win. Go ahead.
Now the Hoosiers are flipping champs.
Well, I mean, we'll see, yeah. I'll go with Matt LaFleur for the Green Bay Packers. There has never been a more satisfying end of game sort of whatever handshake you call it. The Packers beat the Bears. Even though the game got close to the end, they kind of kicked their butt for 90% of the game. Caleb Williams pulled a few plays out of his you-know-what to keep it close. But at the end of the game, you know that Matt LaFleur has been stewing ever since Ben Johnson, the Bears coach, called him out before the season. And it's been kind of not a great year for MLF, Matt LaFleur. He's been way, way too conservative on offense. I think he's got a lot of criticism. Now the Packers look good again. And, God, that must be so fun to have to blow off the coach who called you out earlier in the season.
Yeah, and he did that thing where you shake someone's hand and then you grab the other elbow.
And kept it moving, right?
Condescending move.
Kept it moving.
All right. Well, if the stock goes up, that means the stock has to go down. And in my book, I don't know if their stock can be any lower because of just the blatant corruption that appears to exist in their entire organization. But that FIFA World Cup announcement of the teams and who they're going to be playing just couldn't have been any more awkward. Everything about it, from weirdly giving like Trump a peace medal to then the announcements of who was going to play. And Wayne Gretzky, Pearl, the GOAT, the great one, representing Canada, needed a geography lesson.
Okay, we got the winner of Denmark, North Macedonia, Czechia, Republic of Ireland.
Macedonia. Maybe they pronounce it that way.
Is that a cookie?
Caraco.
That'd be Curacao. GOAT. Curacao. Caraco.
Yeah.
He's the great one, though. So what are we going to do? It's not great for announcing names. He's just great for scoring goals.
Yeah, that was a wild weekend because so many people sent me notes about it. I knew the second when I saw Macedonia, I'm like, oh, this is going viral. But then when I saw Curacao, I was like, oh, I gotta blow this up.
Yeah,
so it was really fun because everyone loves Wayne Gretzky. That's the thing, and everyone loves that he left school when he was like 9 years old. It's just like the combination of all of that made for the perfect thing. I liked it actually. When there was Judge, Brady, even though Brady couldn't open the ping pong balls, Brady, Judge, Shaq, and Wayne. I thought it was kind of cool to see those four up there. I thought it was good choices of who should do it. I don't know. I didn't have as much a problem with it, and I think the funny thing is how easy America's draw is. I couldn't believe it, not knowing obviously the details of all the matchups. But I'm like, that's how USA has to get to the next round. Yes, thank you, people.
If we don't win this group, man, we should just fold as a country. Fold.
Oh, we might be on our way. All right, Pearl stock down.
Stock down. I'm actually going to have to go with myself. You guys can't see it now. If anybody's watching on Infinity Sports Radio Network YouTube,
yuck.
This is nothing. I had a gigantic purple thumb for most of the weekend. Because this guy, I'm not going to name his name, Serge, tried to bat back an offensive rebound, and I it was a totally awkward move, so I threw my hand up to try and, stop the ball, bent my thumb back. This is now the fifth finger that I've probably broken playing basketball.
Broken.
It's definitely broken, but it's a thumb, so I'm just going to let it go. What are you going to do? I'm not getting surgery. I don't even care. What am I going to be, a professional quarterback?
Justin Herbert?
Well, actually, it's funny. I immediately thought, I'm not getting that.
Not throwing hand.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers and Justin Herbert. Rodgers had like a massive cast on it. It's definitely broken, but I don't know. It's better that it's purple than swollen. Swollen's really dangerous. Purple is sometimes okay. You've had sprains, right, on your fingers, DJ?
I've had sprains on fingers. I still have this broken pinky.
Yeah.
That's still crooked.
What are you, Brian Baldinger?
I was going to say.
Basically.
You ever see my pinkies?
No,
thanks. Surgically, both of them are just a disaster.
I did not notice until you just said, but that is that is a shade of black and blue.
Yeah, and it's 50 times better than it was.
Is it painful?
No. It was this weekend, but now it's much better. So I can move it. So if any doctor's watching, this means I'm fine, right?
I think a good movie, you're good.
Yeah, if you can move it.
Just don't tap
it's a rule. It's a rule of basketball. If you can move it at all, you're good for next week.
Do you bother Dr. Rock with a thumb, or is he only knees down?
He only does
But
feet.
he's still a doctor.
No, he doesn't touch. I had a major knee injury. It's like it's not my. If it's above the Achilles, I don't want to see it.
I always kind of assumed that the big toe and the thumb just had so much in common. Maybe
not really. Yeah, no. I have the foremost hand guy though. He's at
course.
NYU. I mean,
even a weird pool.
He's hard to get a hold of. He is probably, there are a lot of people hurt their hands. You guys know this, but his waiting list is months long. Yeah, hands is it's a big deal. Anyway, but I'll be fine.
Burns and dropping stuff. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
No,
that.
and then
I
people,
wrist too.
As you get older, there's a lot of things that can go wrong with your hand. Anyway, not to gross you out.
All right, so we have that to look forward to. Fantastic. Let's do another one. Stock up. I'm going to go Shedeur Sanders on this one. Browns lost the football game, but since Shedeur was not on the field for the botched 2-point conversion, Pearl, I feel like he kind of comes away as a winner here. Big game in bad weather. Yeah. Shedeur played pretty well. Tied a rookie record that only Joe Burrow had before, so obviously looking like he belongs in this league. The Browns are terrible, and I think the head coach was okay taking a major risk with that 2-point conversion and doing a trick play because winning is not that important right now for the Browns. High draft picks are important for the Browns.
Well, they only need to go for a 2-point play. They had just gone, right? They'd gone for a 2-point play before and failed. That's why they were down a point, right?
Yes.
Or was it a mistake?
They were still chasing.
I watched the beginning of this game, and I'm like, oh, my God, Shedeur's playing great. This is so cool. Then I went away from a while. Then I'm like, oh, my God, the Browns are getting demolished by the Titans. What is happening in this game?
Titans' run game took over.
I couldn't believe it. The Titans don't win games. Even if Shedeur was bad, like that's not in the Titans' DNA. Or even if the Browns screw this up. I couldn't believe the way that game played out. I figured the Browns were going to roll them. Remember, that was my best bet. I still don't understand how the Titans scored 31 points on a cold day in Cleveland. I guess they ran right through them. But I thought Cleveland's defense was awesome.
I told you and the computer, AI, had their best pick of the weekend, and it was the Browns. I'm like, all right, everyone, rest easy. The computers can't get us if they're still picking the Browns.
How can Tony Pollard run for 161 yards against a defense that has Myles Garrett and Carson Schlesinger and four All-Pros? This is insane. The computer was right, Maggie.
Can I do a stock up, stock down for the group and maybe for a poll question?
Sure.
Is Notre Dame stock up or stock down today? Because they obviously got snubbed by the committee and they're not in the college football playoffs. So you would think Pearl stock down. But this is more support than I've ever seen for Notre Dame since Rudy hit theaters. I mean, people feel bad for them. They're saying Notre Dame's not going to a bowl game, and then people are saying, oh, it's totally justified.
I mean, I'll give you stock up from Team Petty because I like the statement of not going to the bowl game. Whether it's short-sighted, costing you practices, whatever, I like having a hissy fit after yesterday. Whether it was warranted or not, I'll give him points for that.
I'm so Team Petty.
Jake,
he's not listening. He's in school.
Texas should have canceled their entire schedule and put on high school teams after what the Vanderbilt should never play anybody again. I'm all about Petty too, but no, Notre Dame couldn't be stock downer than now. That's why.
But they're getting a lot of love, and I bet they're not only is college football playoffs going to expand next year, they're going to ratify this ridiculous thing that if Notre Dame is ranked in a certain number, then they
12.
automatically get in. Like, this is going to end up being, guys, play chess here, not checkers. This is going to end up being good for Notre Dame because people feel bad that they got hosed here.
Well, I mean, I would hope with their schedule that they can get into a 16-team playoff without this bump. But this could be their year. This could be arguably the easiest year they're ever going to have. There's nobody in this field that scares Notre Dame at all. They've Jeremiah Love. He's going pro. I think this easily, they're looking at this year and be like, oh, man, this stinks. Because the quarterbacks are kind of off in this field. Like, Ohio State's got how old is Julian Saying? There's just a weird field. I think the field is going to be much more competitive next year.
By the way, how does that thumb hurt your Julian Saying impersonation? You be okay with that?
What's my
Can you play as Julian Saying? You can do the same thing. Could you still run the Buckeye offense with 9 fingers?
No, I mean that. You call that an offense? Whatever they're doing. That was just. Let's just wait till the playoffs start and then we'll pick it up.
I love this Vanderbilt non-conference that you're talking about. They didn't play any.
No, I know they got to figure out a way. Yeah, they didn't play it, but
Charleston,
I would love
Southern, Virginia Tech, Georgia State, and Utah State.
Yeah, but what would this spread be if Vanderbilt was playing JMU or Tulane right now? They'd be double-digit favorites.
Anyone playing James. I'm sorry, no disrespect to James Madison, but like any of the Power Fours are going to be favored.
I love Vanderbilt. I love Diego Pavia. Kind of stinks that he's not in this thing.
He'll be at the Heisman ceremony, though, this weekend, if that's any consolation.
Oh, right. No, it's great to see him in a ballroom. What do you mean? How would that be consolation?
Listen, we already got an extra year of Diego Pavia that we were never even supposed to get because he sued the NCAA to get another year of eligibility. Just be happy with the more Diego Pavia you got. Which, by the way, he's going to end up on an NFL roster. I was trying to think what's the most Diego Pavia NFL roster, and I was thinking the Browns would probably be it.
He's going to make an NFL roster?
I bet he gets invited.
How tall is he?
I don't know. How tall is Bryce Young? Let's get to Bogusch. What's up?
The Chiefs' AFC West dynasty is at least on pause for a year. 9 straight division titles, but not a 10th, thanks to last night's 2010 home loss to the Texans. Their wildcard chances in KC down to 16%. Patrick Mahomes trying to be positive.
We got the talent, we got the heart, but we have to go out there and execute it. And until we prove it, we'll come away with losses. So I mean, like I said, I know we're going to give everything we have. We'll give ourselves a chance.
Mahomes picked off 3 times on Sunday Night Football. Not all of them were his fault. And Rashee Rice dropped a pass on 4th down in the 4th quarter. The Texans going in the other direction, winners of 5 straight now. They squandered a 10-0 halftime lead, but then scored 10 in the 4th to get this W. C.J. Stroud's team sitting in a wild card spot for the first time this season.
Offensively, we got to be better in the second half, but I thought, we played hard, and in December you want to get wins, and that's all that really matters.
And this win has them 1 game behind the Jags in the South. They don't play each other again, but Houston does have 3 of its last 4 at home against the Cardinals, the Raiders, and the Colts, who will not have Daniel Jones after yesterday's apparent torn Achilles. The Commanders took a 31-0 beating from the Vikings yesterday. Jaden Daniels was back, lost a fumble, threw a pick, then aggravated his left elbow injury. Dan Quinn said post-game Daniels could have played in a closer game. But tight end Zach Ertz is out for good with a likely torn ACL from a nasty low hit.
That's hard, man. This guy is one hell of a competitor in every way. And, to see the frustration and emotion with that, all of us are feeling that.
Ertz was in tears being carted from the field.
I think that's the kind of hit that warrants a suspension.
And ejection.
I know we talk about the head hits, and Perloff mentions it all the time in the show. Players, they'd rather get hit in the head than have what happened to them. What happened to Zach Ertz. Now, whether that's fair or the right way to think, who cares? Or maybe that's a different conversation. But he ruined this guy's career. I mean, his career's essentially over because of a hit that should not happen. There was no reason to go after his legs like that. And I think they got to start treating these lower extremity illegal hits or dirty hits the same way they hit guys.
No, you get in trouble more for spitting on somebody.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. His career, it may be over because of a hit that just was unnecessary.
But I mean, it ruined his career in the sense that, I assume, was Zach Ertz, he was going to retire after this year anyway, and they weren't making the playoffs. I think he almost retired last year.
Yeah, maybe.
So it ruined the end of his career. But I agree with you. Players hate when you do that.
I think there were Ed Orgeron rumors or suggestions around the Tulane gig, but that's reportedly done. They are promoting passing game coordinator Will Hall to head coach. John Sumrall staying though with the Green Wave through the playoff. And Maggie, may I interest you in a drought buster?
It's poked at. It's grabbed by Wenberg. He's got it. Empty net. Can he get it by? He's dragged down to the ice, but he puts it in front of the net, and Celebrini scores! What an effort by Alex Wenberg. He was going to draw a penalty, but he got the puck back to his feet and fed it in front, and Macklin Celebrini puts the cherry on top of the sundae.
As we all knew so well, those San Jose Sharks hadn't won in Raleigh, North Carolina since February 4th of 2018. But Macklin Celebrini's empty netter gets them a 4-1 win on Hurricane Ice last night. So print your T-shirts.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't appreciate the troll job because without the NHL, the year of the slump buster could actually have continued. But because the Panthers had the audacity to win back-to-back, it effectively ended Pearl the slump buster. Whereas if Canada and Edmonton had won, it would have been
all time.
All time.
And in baseball, too.
That's like Notre Dame complaining about the Texas A&M loss. That was early in the season. Early in the year, Maggie. Come on.
Listen, baseball, I would have been so far out in front by the time the World Series came around. I just would have been riding so high on hockey because that would have been the spring. I would have had all summer to gloat. I mean, selling merch.
Maybe it's a year back-to-back.
Feels late for
Is that what you get?
Ohio State?
Yeah, if Ohio State, who's the Vegas favorite, they could go.
You think your Eagles are winning the Super Bowl again?
Could be. I don't know. Now the Chiefs are out, all bets are off.
By the way, Macklin Celebrini has become one of those people who, like Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford or like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and every time you mention him, it's like, do you know his dad works for the Warriors? Yes, we do.
I have an important question for the group.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did we do Matt Campbell yet? When did that happen?
It's in the rundown, or it's in the floater section.
We're going to get to it.
I
He's the new head coach of Penn State.
There's one segment left. So.
But that happened after the show on Friday, right?
Correct. After the show.
That is, I just saw you mentioned the Tulane opening. I'm like, that is bananas that Penn State salvaged Matt Campbell out of this whole thing, but we'll get to it, I guess.
Yeah. Kick, save, and a beauty, to take a note from hockey.
Well, we can talk about whatever we want. I mean, there are no rules on that, but it is funny that Matt Campbell got completely overwhelmed by the entire college football playoff thing, that it feels like that was 2 months ago.
And it's possible that's the best hire of the cycle.
Yeah, I know.
And it would
That's
not
the irony.
be, and weirdly, Penn State, I feel like the athletics director should not get any credit for it because he went to everyone under the sun until he went to Matt Campbell. And by the way, did you see the weird detail of this?
Is it $1 billion a year? Because that's what I would have asked for if I was Matt Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
And I was Plan J.
So,
guess what you're going to pay me, Packraft?
Actually, I got to ask Ryan Hickey, who's outside, if this is a true story or an internet rumor. But there was a rumor that they actually did want to get in touch with Matt Campbell a lot earlier in the cycle.
And his phone was off?
No, they got in touch with an agent that no longer represents him, and that person was so bitter they didn't even pass it along to the new agent or to Campbell.
That's amazing and very realistic. That's like real world stuff right there.
But like, also, come on, Penn State. This makes me feel like it's fake. You really think you're getting ghosted? You get no response? That's impossible.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a break. I don't know. New number.
Yeah, with Penn State, though, Maggie, maybe.
Good grief. Okay, lots more to do. We'll do the Penn State stuff and find out if that rumor was actually true or just something I got fooled by the internet. And we have the biggest takeaway from the college football playoff final rankings next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Got a little bit of news. It's not so much breaking news. It looks like the Notre Dame athletic director, Pearl, is going to do a press conference tomorrow at noon. Now, Notre Dame got snubbed out of the college football playoff. Snubbed is maybe the wrong word. They were led to believe throughout the rankings each week that they were going to be ranked above Miami come hell or high water. That turned out not to be the case. Not because of anything that changed between Notre Dame and Miami, but because BYU lost the Big 12 championship game to Texas Tech. So that dropped them out of the spot that BYU was right nestled in between Notre Dame and Miami. Then they were back-to-back. Then the committee was like, well, now we have to honor the head-to-head. Meanwhile, they should have been honoring the head-to-head for weeks. But
that old situation.
Yeah, that old gag.
Yeah.
But so what do you think? And then Notre Dame said that they are not going to participate in the bowl game, which would have been the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, they're angry. By the way,
what do you think the press conference is? Sorry.
I don't know, but that guy is such a loser compared to Jack Swarbrick. I mean, Jack Swarbrick, Notre Dame would have a bye. That guy, their former AD, who was the king of keeping them out of a conference, he was very, very powerful.
Yep.
But then again, I feel like the SEC could have gotten more teams in, and their power is not as severe as I kind of thought it was. So I don't know. I think they'll go to 16, and I'm bummed because I love all this controversy. I think it's fantastic.
Oh, don't worry. We'll still get controversy even if
but
it's 16.
If it's like Georgia Tech versus some Big 12 team, I'm like, no one's going to care like this.
Yeah, see, I think that the SEC has still asserted quite a bit of control here, and they have more teams than any other conference. They have 5
yeah, but
teams.
They're way better. I mean, look at the NFL draft's going to be 65% SEC.
No, I get it, but they've got the talent spread out. But here's the other part. They have the only conference champion loser who did not drop a spot. How do we not think that the SEC is not getting respected here? Alabama lost that game to Georgia, and they weren't even close in that game. Georgia controlled the game from moment one to triple zeros on the clock, and they didn't move an inch. They were at 9, and they stayed at 9, and now they're going to play Oklahoma in a rematch of a game that came down to the wire the first time. Alabama lost.
Well, I mean, like if you look at the situations where Ohio State dropped, or you could say Indiana rose because they won the title. BYU didn't belong here. I'm sorry. They have how old is their quarterback? 18? They would get destroyed by all those SEC teams. I don't even know. I thought they were overhyped the entire year. I understand what you're saying, but still, you look at the talent level. I mean, can you imagine if Texas got a hold of some of these schools the way Colin Simmons and the defense is playing right now? I just think that there could be, it's just a very interesting situation to me. I think Greg Sankey and the SEC, just be careful. Like they could say, you know what, we don't really need it set up this way. We could do whatever we wanted. And isn't the Big Ten makes more money than them too? Like there's something going on weird. I feel like all of college football is a complete state of flux right now. I feel like it's chaos. And by the way, which makes it entertaining.
That's kind of the thing with college football. Like, you got to like it. If you like order and you like things that, sometimes the NFL gives you more order, but sometimes silly things happen in the NFL. Like a below 500 team gets to host a playoff game, but that's generally as egregious as it gets.
Well, you get funny strength of schedules.